I always love to let it play. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Today is an historic day because, as you see, if you've already tuned in and you're already watching, which I know you are, you see it as you clicked on. But, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever, welcome to the Straub Sports Show. I am Ken Straub. That is Andrew Straub. And we are the Straub Bros. So welcome to, once again, the Straub Sports Show. Andrew, it is a dream come true.
Oh, it is absolutely amazing. Went back and forth on names. We decided this was the best one. We got it all cleared. We got it all down. And I'm so excited to keep going.
I almost put the legal documentation here. Instead, there's the pictures of us. Family affair. The cousin t-shirt is on today. The logo is currently being designed by our wonderful cousin Cassidy. We love you so much. Thank you for doing it. That is coming soon. But I mean, yeah, this is everything, man. Like this is what we love. This is what we want to be doing, and I can't wait. And I'm excited. So, I mean, without further ado, so we're gonna pull this down, and ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, the Straub Sports Show ticker. There it is. Check us out on the 216 Sports Network Facebook and Instagram page. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. And as you see, I'll read it once. This show is two brothers doing what we do best, talking some smack, talking sports, and enjoying each other's football teams losing. All of the football teams, whether that be Cincinnati, Notre Dame, the Cowboys, the Browns, Manchester United, and Chelsea. The only team we don't want to see losing is our beloved United States men's and women's national team. But other than that, no. So, yes, as you see, the Straub Sports Show is in full effect. All right, bro. Let's hit the first thing and the most important thing of the college week, and that is the top 6 and the rest of the top 25. So, if you've been living under a rock, you obviously know that there was not a huge change to the top 7 or 8, but what me and Drew decided to do this week was not just sit here and talk to you about what the committee put up. We want to introduce ourselves or what we feel as well. So, without further ado, here are the top 6, along with mine and Drew's top 6, which I will pull this down so everybody can see that, so we don't block Drew out. So, if you there, you see the committee, state chalk. Ohio State at 1, Georgia at 2, Michigan at 3, Florida State at 4, Washington, Oregon, respectively at 5 and 6. But as you see, me and Drew don't agree. I personally kind of more agree with the AP poll and the coaches poll, and that's Michigan at 1, Georgia at 2, Ohio State at 3, Florida State at 4, Washington, Oregon again. And Drew, as you see, Georgia at 1, Ohio State at 2, Florida State at 3, Washington at 4, and on the outside looking in of Little Brother's top 6, Michigan and Oregon. So, wow. First things first, I want to throw this out there. Why do you not have Michigan in your top 4?
So, it's not due to lack of talent or lack of dominating wins, because they have that in abundance. It's just that they haven't played anybody. Their strength of schedule is like 111th, and it's not a diss on them because they're playing who they're playing. And unfortunately, a lot of the teams that they've played in the Big Ten just haven't been that good. However, as we'll see coming up, they're playing really good teams in the next couple of weeks. And as long as they win those, they will 100% move up my list. Just right now, if we're looking at face value, the first 9 games, they really haven't played anybody worth putting them up above the other teams that are undefeated as well and have dominant wins, but have played better teams and beat better teams.
So I don't disagree with you because their schedule is weak, but my thing is they have absolutely done the one thing that they are supposed to do, and that is hammer the teams in front of them. Okay, they are taking care of business. That is what you're supposed to do. Like, I'm throwing it out there.
Fairness.
So my thing is, and this is what I said from the get-go when I had Michigan, because originally before the 6 came out, I had Michigan 1, I had Georgia 2. So I have not wavered. They were put there at the beginning. They have not done anything to lose that. My best way to describe that is TCU. TCU was put there early. They didn't deserve to be there. That played out. Michigan, Georgia, I think they belong there. So that is why I have there. I will say that. So the other thing I do want to point out, and I need to go back to it real quick, just keep it fresh real quick in everybody's mind. You also have Florida State in at 3. I have Florida State at 4. I agree with the College Football Playoff Committee. The reason I don't have Ohio State at 1, I'm sorry, Buckeye Nation. The only reason I don't is because as the season goes on, everything is starting to play out for Michigan. Okay? They win this week and they win like they've been all year. No one is going to say anything about who they have played. Ohio State's wins keep looking worse and worse and worse. Georgia's keep looking better and better and better. So that's the only reason no one has really moved for what I think, because Georgia had a great win last week.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State struggled with Rutgers, when we will get to that. So that's our top 6. Mine, Drew's. That's how the committee looks. Like we said, this is all going to play out. We're all going to end up with who we think is going to be in there, and we're all going to be right, because not everyone is going to be right. Your predictions will be right because they're all going to get in. Okay, Oregon, Washington going to play. Ohio State, Michigan. It's all going to take care of itself, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, it isn't just about the top 6. How about the rest of the best? Okay, as you see, there's no change 1 through 8. With Texas and Alabama bringing it up. Ole Miss jumps up a spot. Penn State is moving up. Obviously, Louisville, Oregon State. Tennessee moves up after blowing out UConn football team. And as you see, Kansas, Oklahoma took a dive. Utah, LSU, and Notre Dame both dropping, still in the top 25, though. Iowa, welcome back. Arizona, welcome. North Carolina, welcome back. Hey, Tar Heels. Kansas State drops. Tulane hangs on. James Madison, see you later. Air Force, see you later. Who else dropped out that I missed, Drew?
Yeah,
that's okay.
It's like, yeah, we'll figure it out.
It takes care of itself. So there's the rest of your top 25. Now, we're going to do what we always do, and that is do a little review. But in terms of doing our review, Drew, what are we going to do? We're going to take a little ride around the country, and we are going to review the best games of the week. And man, we were blessed. As you see our graphic, we are going to take our ride. So let's start with, there was 2 best games of the week. So let's start with game of the week 1. Alabama 42-28 over LSU. Yes, 42-28, Alabama LSU. Okay, throw your SEC defenses out the window because they did not come for this one. Dude, what a game! Flat out, what a game. Jalen Milroe, 155 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns, 219 passing yards. Wow. Okay. Wow. We had made a comment last week. Well, he doesn't have to outplay. He damn near did. Okay. If the Heisman room wasn't already pretty much locked up in terms of who our guys have separated from the pack, man, Jalen Monroe, you give him a couple more games and he would have been, I really do, really been knocking on it. But a back and forth game until basically a huge hit knocked Jaden Daniels out of the game, was not flagged, was not called illegal. I'll let you argue about that. And then that basically knocked Jaden Daniels out of the game, possibly out of the Heisman race. In the meantime, he still had 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, 163 rushing yards, and a touchdown. Like the numbers are insane. Drew, number one, first of all, talk to me about the game, and talk to me about the fact that it was clear, because I was watching both games at once, USC and Washington, and this game. Jaden Daniels gets hurt. LSU gives up the ball. Alabama scores. They get the ball back. He's still hurt. They give up the ball. Alabama scores again. Game's over. Talk to me.
Yeah, like you said, it was super close through 3 quarters, 21-21 at half. Alabama had a 7-point lead going into the 4th, and it looked like it was still going back and forth, and then Jaden Daniels goes out. And you could tell just the offensive slump that they had trying to bring in a new quarterback completely killed them. And it really was a very statement game for Bama, just because while Jane Daniels did come out, Alabama was playing with the lead for almost the entire game and was basically putting it to the LSU defense. And they continue to impress and just bide their time until LSU, or not until the rest of the top 4 or 5 slip, because they don't have that hard of a schedule remaining after this game. And so look out for Bama.
Man, what was it, 2 weeks ago? When he comes and does Saban comes on the field to do the press conference or the post game interview, and the kid hands him the cigar and he's chewing the cigar and he's talking some smack and he's smiling, having some fun. I told you, I said it is over for everyone. Okay, yeah. So congratulations, it's showing. They had the slip up, and listen, the first 4 that get in originally on the first ranking do not normally hold throughout the entire process, and Bama is lurking. So definitely there. I want to throw some other numbers out, but I want to give a shout out to Pops. Pops loves the name. Of course you love the name, Pops. It's a great name, of course. And also, Sean, yeah, OSU still covered and Georgia did not. Hang on, baby. We get into the bets. We're definitely going to get there. Malik Neighbors, 10 catches, 171 yards, and a touchdown. Okay. No, like I said, no defense, and who cares? I do want to point out, once again, Brian Kelly loses a big game. Listen, right, I got plenty, ladies and gentlemen, I got plenty to eat as it comes, okay? So the 1 or 2 this week that I get to shovel at somebody else, I'm taking my opportunities, okay? I'm not going down without a fight. And here, I got it written down. You took care of it for me. No one wants to see Alabama right now, okay? I don't care what they look like against Texas. Nobody wants to see that team right now. Drew, you got anything else before I roll to this to game 1A, 1B?
Now let's keep rolling.
All right. Washington, 52-42 over USC. I legit was looking at an over-under of 101 points at halftime, and I had 2 initial thoughts. I'm betting halftime over and unders of a college game. What the F is wrong with me? And 2, if any team drafts a defensive player from the Pac-12, their GM should be fired.
That's fair.
Washington won the game because they ran the ball.
Yeah, that's not play defense.
You're right. When the score is 52-42, I know that you're like, Ken, are you serious? Yes. And listen, Dylan Johnson, 256 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, the 5th largest rushing day in Washington school history. Yeah, they won because they ran the ball. Now, Michael Penix Jr., a 256, that's like one of his lowest games of the year, 2 touchdowns, and stays at number 1 for the Heisman. That was the kind of your biggest takeaway from the gap. But, dude, this was a heavyweight battle, okay? Absolutely. 2 thoughts. 1, this is a great win because it's a game of the year. And when you win a game of the year, you get bonus points. However, I think at some point the committee is going to start to hold against Washington that they can't play any defense. Drew, talk to me.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. About the game, though, USC came to play early on. They had a blocked punt early. They were up 14-7 after the first. But Michael Penix Jr., I know we're talking about the run game, but oh my God, what a player. It was 14-7 second quarter. He gets the ball. He scrambles to the left if you guys haven't seen it. Dodges a defender. Off his back foot, throws a laser in the end zone for a touchdown. And it won't show up as a stat sheet as like that. It'll show as a touchdown throw. Another one of many that he's had this year. But that was special. And it was absolutely phenomenal. Now, Caleb Williams, in his own right, played well. Just as the same. 312 yards, 3 touchdowns. He wasn't at fault. But my word.
If we lived in a world where the only thing we knew about Caleb Williams was the stuff that he did on the field, there would the things that get thrown out by GMs, oh, he would have got drafted over Trevor Lawrence and Andrew Luck and blah, 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 blah. The things that make people go, huh? Sometimes they make sense. And I know you were talking about Michael Penix Jr. as well, but I wanted to give that Caleb some love. Keep going.
No, that's fair. But like you said, yeah, that running game, it would have been slow the past couple of weeks, but it came to play. And obviously it's a USC defense, so we have to kind of give it with a grain of salt. But 256 yards and 4 touchdowns is no joke on any defense. much less, a ranked defense.
No, 100%. I want to throw this out here. The USC defense in the last 6 games has allowed 265 points.
Oh.
In the past 2 seasons, Iowa has given up 284 points.
And they're going to the Big Ten.
Huh? 265 in 6 games, 284 in 2 seasons. So that is how historically bad this USC defense is. So they fired their defensive coordinator. We'll have a little bit more on that later. But, I mean, at some point, somebody said too little, too late. No, they're trying to hang on to recruits at this point. Want to make sure guys don't start jumping ship. All right. Our next big game of the weekend, called exclusively here on the Straub Bros Sports Show, Oklahoma 24, Oklahoma State 27. We bleeping owned that one last week, bro. My guy, Heisman candidate, Ollie Gordon II, 137 yards, 2 more tutties, as down go the Sooners, as predicted once again. Mike Gundy, it's a big game, and you're damn right it was, Coach. My bad. I apologize. We made fun of them for getting owned in the rivalry, but you know what? It doesn't matter what you do recently, it only matters what you do recently. I apologize. I want to point something out. Mike Gundy joins Bob Stoops and Bill Snyder. Just some guys who coached in the Pac-12 or the Big 12 as the only other coaches to reach 100 wins. Yeah, that's big. Okay, that is very big. Alan Bowman, 334 yards. I mean, this Oklahoma State team took care of business. Dylan Gabriel, 344 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Drake Stoops, 134 yards, 1 touchdown. Costly turnover late for Oklahoma, really took care of it. Oklahoma State could run, move the ball. They took care of the ball, I should say. They took advantage of their opportunities. And once again, Oklahoma can't play defense in the fourth quarter and can't play defense down the stretch. Once again, talk to me, little bro.
Yeah, 27-24. Obviously, it's not a big, crazy scoring game, but this was a shootout in terms of yards. 492 versus 480. And the stars of each team, like you said, came to play. Both quarterbacks slinging the ball, both running backs. We talked about Ollie Gordon, but Gavin Sawchuk for Oklahoma, 13 carries, 111 yards, and a touchdown. And then Rashad Owens, wide receiver for Oklahoma State, 10 receptions, 136 yards. Absolutely blockbuster in terms of a game. Now, the second to last possession for Oklahoma, no pass interference called in the end zone. Not even going to say it was pass interference. He dragged him down before the ball. There's no controversy there.
It was.
Oklahoma settles for a field goal, but they had another chance to score. And so while Oklahoma fans can be upset that it wasn't called, we get that. You had another chance to march down the field, and you turn the ball over, you go 3 and out or 4 and out, and you lose the game. So I get it, but you had more chances.
I'm not making any more excuses for Oklahoma. I'm
fair.
done. I do want to say this. Oklahoma now this week, and we'll touch on it later, gets a red-hot West Virginia team. Could they be on upset alert? We'll see. Moving on. Our other just good games. Literally, I'm not joking. There were good games from noon to the 10 o'clock window. And you can make, there were legit quality, top-notch, top 10 of the season games from noon to 10 o'clock all week. And I think we got more in store this week too, but we'll get to that later. The Georgia Bulldogs take down the Missouri Tigers 30-21. As advertised, as all college people and all college football fans knew, this Georgia team is good, but Missouri came to play. And it was a close game because the Tigers are legit, okay? But Georgia needed a late interception from Javon Bullier with 1 minute and 36 seconds left. And the defensive tackle also made the best interception of all time. They needed those defensive plays, Georgia did, to hang on to this game. The Tigers were up 13-10 before 2 touchdowns put Georgia up for good, but Missouri came to play. Missouri was in there. Carson Beck, 254, 2 tutties, was moving the ball nicely. McConkey, 7 receptions, 95 yards. Missouri was there, man. Missouri came to play. Talk to me.
Yeah, this was finally a tough test that we've been waiting to see against Georgia, but they still played great. Yeah, it was close, and yeah, Missouri played them close. Love you, Dad. Shout out to that. But Missouri's a good team. Like everyone's saying, oh, they was really close. Missouri's a good team this year. I know they haven't been, but it was a great performance. And again,
Well,
we
they've
want to
been
say
good. You can't say they haven't been. They've been good.
without Brock Bowers, like they're a Heisman candidate that is gone, and so the offense looked really, really good. The defense stepped up exactly when it mattered, exactly what you expect from a top tier defense when a game is close and on the line. And it's closer than other games, but I think it's just as good as those other games that they've blown out teams on because it's a much better team that you won by more than a touchdown.
Yeah, I agree. Georgia, big games left.
Yes, very big.
mean, nothing but big games from this point forward. However, like if there's another team that you'd be like, all right, you have these ranked teams coming up in a row. Give me one team in the country that you're like, all right, if I have to bet that they're going to do it, I would take Georgia. I'm sorry, I would. They've been there year in, year out now, and it's still working. All right, buddy, let's get on the highway and let's cruise through the rest of the country. Okay. First, the Buckeyes of Ohio State. 35, Rutgers 16. That score is very deceiving. They struggled with Rutgers, trailed 9-7 at half before a pick six, and then they kind of never looked back at that. Trayvon Henderson, the man, 128 yards rushing, 1 touchdown, 80 yards receiving. Marvin Harrison Jr., only 25 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. Obviously, you were going to look, maybe did he have a bad game? No, I mean, Rutgers came to play, okay? They locked up Ohio State for a half. Harrison Jr. with the 2 touchdowns, but, there you go. Drew?
Yeah, Rutgers gave OSU their best shot in the first half, but unfortunately, the offense just could not capitalize on just the amazing field position their defense was giving them. And OSU, like they do, finally figured out some things offensively, and if you don't get a good enough lead, they're just going to run away with it. And that's exactly what they did. Like you said, Trayvon Henderson.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. No, you.
Right. Trayvon Henderson, like you said, had a great game. And once again, OSU's defense holds on to the lead or holds on to the gap long enough that OSU can finally get their footing offensively, and they end up winning by multiple scores.
100%. OSU, welcome to being the number 1 team in the country. When you struggle, we're going to get on you rather than let it slide. That's just what happens. We did it to Georgia all year. So, yeah. All right, let's keep going. Texas. Oh, I almost had you. 33-30. A Texas second half collapse allows Kansas State to get back into overtime where they collapse and go for it on 4th and goal instead of kicking a game-tying field goal and getting me closer to Xing out the Big 12 like I said would happen this week. Thanks a lot. I was close. Will Howard, 327, 4 touchdowns for the Wildcats. Malik Murphy, 248, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Definitely struggled. Jonathan Brooks, 112 yards, 1 touchdown. Donnie Mitchell, 149, 1 touchdown. I almost had him, bro.
You were
Bill
close,
Snyder.
Man.
Bill Snyder would have kicked the field goal. Just saying.
Yeah, man. Texas up big halfway through the third, 27-7. But as shown by the whole game after that on both teams, special teams just could not get themselves together. A pump block by Kansas State brought them back in the game. But then Kansas State bobbled the extra point to give them the lead and then missed a game-tying field goal later on. So when they actually did kick the field goal to tie the game, that could have been for the win. And so then you go to overtime, and maybe you don't trust the kicker that missed a field goal. Maybe you don't want to go into a back and forth with Texas, but then they go for a touchdown and a broken, busted play off, honestly, a very rare bad throw by Will Howard, who had a great game, 327 yards, 4 touchdown, basically did it by himself out there. And it's one of those ones where just the little things killed him.
Absolutely. No, I don't disagree. I couldn't believe it. I was watching it. I couldn't believe it. When they pulled up and were going for it, and horrible play call. Texas broke right through, broke the play up, took them down. All right. You want to talk? Fine. You're driving then. Drew, drive through the rest of the country. Let's get through the rest of these games.
Dude, I feel like I'm 16 again. All right. Number 18, Utah. 55-3 against Arizona State. I want to say my bad. I thought it was going to be close. My apologies on that already. Utah held Arizona State to 83 total yards and having 513 yards themselves. Jaquindon Jackson, 13 carries, 111 yards, and a touchdown. Bryson Barnes, 161 yards and 4 touchdowns. On the flip side for Arizona State, Jacob Conover, 5 for 22, 41 yards and an interception. Utah, absolutely dominant win. What you got to say on that?
I got nothing to say. I'm going to be a backseat driver and say you're going too slow in the fast lane. Let's roll.
Let's keep going. Number 11, Penn State. This one's going to hurt for you. 51-15 over Maryland.
I was wrong. I was wrong. More on that later.
Thank you. Explosive offense return for Penn State, and the defense forces 4 turnovers. Juillar, 240 yards and 4 touchdowns, continues his absolutely impressive sophomore campaign. Possible Heisman look next year? Question mark maybe. On the other side, Talia Tagovailoa, not a bad day. 286 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception, but negative 49 rushing yards for Maryland on the day. Negative 47 were on Talia. Didn't get to see what that was about. Maybe it was a scramble gone wrong. I'm not sure, but just absolutely dreadful on the rushing attack. And Penn State whoops them. And you said you're going to do that later, so we'll keep moving. Number 6, Oregon, 63-19 over Cal. This one was close in the first quarter, 14-10 Oregon.
As predicted here on the pod.
As predicted, 14-10 Oregon was very close after the first, but then Oregon proceeded to outscore Cal 49-9 the rest of the 3 quarters. Bo Nix, my word, 386 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns themselves. Absolutely phenomenal day. And if we're talking about the defense for Oregon, they're big again. Only allowed 286 yards to a team that put up 527 against USC and forced 3 turnovers. Absolute shellacking. Anything to add on that?
2 things. Number 1, who said the Pac-12 can't play no defense? What? And the most important thing. A wise man named Mystical once yelled, "Danger!" And that is what everyone who is in front of Oregon is in. You are in danger, okay? Get on the floor. Get on the floor. Okay,
yes.
Shout out to everybody who got that reference.
Absolutely.
Bro, I'm tapping you on the shoulder. Keep it rolling.
Keep it rolling, and we're good. Number 17, Tennessee. Surprise, surprise. Beats 1-win conferenceless UConn 59-3. Ooh. However, 650 yards of offense is pretty impressive. They rolled past UConn. Joe Milton, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns. UConn, though, pretty decent through the air. 200 yards, but had 2 interceptions. 35 yards in the ground. Absolutely shut them down. Tennessee, cakewalk.
Our weekly UConn is no conference confusion. That's
yes.
I mean, that's my note for this game, because that's what every time I look at a UConn game, I just go, and I Google it. I go, are they not in a conference? Like, seriously, it blows my mind every week. That was my takeaway. I'm pretty sure Tennessee could have put up the same exact stats had they not actually had a defense out there. So shout out to Tyler. Tyler said he was there. And also I got to give out to shout out to Sean. He said this. We're putting it up there. He said Oregon will win that CFP. Okay. Mark my words. I mean, look,
write that down.
Listen. Mystical agrees. Danger. Get on the floor.
It's not the worst in the world.
All right.
Let's keep it rolling.
It's time for some signage, baby. Keep it rolling.
Yes. Listen, the investigations are getting a little bit heavier now.
Ooh, it's spicy.
We've been hearing some talks, but doesn't seem to affect number 3 Michigan as they beat Purdue 41-13. Absolute another dominant game. JJ McCarthy looked great, 335 yards. Defense looked great. They're not stopping no matter what's being told about them. This team looks unstoppable, and they got some big tests, so they have to be.
You keep Michigan intact, I think we'll see Michigan in the playoffs. Stop giving this team bulletin board material. It's also possible that Harbaugh doesn't make to the end of the season. So I think if that happens, they might be in trouble. Go ahead. My last team. Get to the last game. One of my other teams I told you about. Once again, predicted here on the Straub Sports Show.
All right. Number 13, Louisville, putting it to Virginia Tech 34-3. Jake Plummer did his job and nothing more. 11 for 12, 141 yards and a touchdown. But the rushing game, and we talk about Jawar Jordan all the time. He was okay. But Isaac Granendo, I think is how you say it, 11 carries, 146 yards, 3 touchdowns. And of course, as we've talked about this whole time, their defense came up big again, only allowing 140 total yards. Now listen, we love Florida State. We are big fans. This Louisville team is dangerous.
I said it. They controlled the line of scrimmage like they have in the games that they won, in the game specifically against Notre Dame. They're going to take care of this. They're going to take care of it. It will not be a problem. All right, pull over. I'm driving. Okay?
We're going too fast.
You had your run. You're good. No, you're all right. You did good. You did good. All right, you stayed in the lanes. All right, I was playing with the music for a while. You're good to go. All right, but let's keep it rolling. Speaking of one of our favorite teams, Florida State 24-7 over Pitt. ACC championship is in sight for both Louisville and Florida State. Okay, that's what it's looking at. Pitt can't get ripped up every week, and I think that is why Florida State did not get dinged in terms of committee points. Like, you got to have respect for the opposition. Mm-hmm. I think Florida State could have played better. It's not the greatest thing to go struggle. Maybe it is the good thing to go struggle out with Pitt when you, spoiler alert, coming up soon. You have Florida State, Miami coming up this week. So we'll see about that. Moving on. Oh, once again, I was this close, man, to clipping the entire Big 12 out. Kansas, 28. Iowa State, 21. Jason Bean, 287. 1 touchdown. The Cyclones, 10 fourth quarter points. Try to make that comeback and complete my Big 12 demise, but to sneak away with a good win. Honestly, Kansas was running away with this thing for almost 3.5 quarters, but 3 quarters. And then Iowa State just kept plugging away, tried to get back in the game and almost took care of it for me, but they hung on.
Yes, sir. Honestly, it was 21-18. I was like, oh, Iowa State. And then, yeah, Jason Bean right down the middle and just to the house, and you could tell everyone in the Iowa State Stadium just deflated because they saw that it was kind of pulling away again.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. All right, let's keep it rolling. Man, in the battle of two of my favorite teams, but nobody more than the other one. Oregon State 26, Colorado 19. My Buffs looked prime early for an upset win. They really did. But my Beavers stayed consistent throughout, and DJU. Some questionable goal line calls left Colorado with capitalizing early on some turnovers. And honestly, they could have jumped up and jumped out to an early lead, and it may have changed the game, but I mean, it didn't really happen. I do want to point out Shedeur Sanders, 245 and 2 touchdowns. I'm just Oregon State, like I said, struggled in that first quarter, but we're consistent throughout the game. You saw the game plan. You saw it going. Colorado was just so up and down. That offensive line is awful. But the defense is not great consistently. So they did give up some big plays. But, I mean, Oregon State, 2 losses. They got Stanford, Washington, and Oregon left. Okay? They're a 2-loss chaos team. Okay? And we will we will show you what that means a little bit more later. But I'm just saying. But, man, once again, we're Coach Prime Pro here. Okay? Colorado, that's a good effort. They didn't look awful. They need some help still. But Oregon State, man, looking dangerous, no?
No, they do. And I think, honestly, this game, at least the scoreline, was a lot closer than what this game said. Going into the fourth, it was 23-5. Oregon State was cruising. They're sure saying they made a game of it at the end, but it really kind of was too little too late.
The game was close for a quarter and a half.
Yeah. And also, Colorado, 238 yards of offense, -7 yards of rushing. And remember, Shedeur Sanders had 245 yards, so that's negative rushing yards. Honestly, this team is looking very unmotivated. And for a Coach Prime team, that's kind of concerning, no?
Yeah, I think
because that's what you live off of.
Yeah.
If you're a Coach Prime team.
Number one, yes. So I'm going to hit that twofold. A 4-4 pro team is going to give you more effort than a 4-4 college team because they're still professionals getting checks. They want to go out and try to win some games. I think at some point college kids are checked out. They don't want to get hurt. They want to make sure they're healthy for next year. So yeah. And I'll be honest, Coach Prime treats that like a pro team. Okay. He basically came out and flatly said his offensive line wasn't good enough. We'll be looking to upgrade the position. Be careful because those guys are also protecting your son. So be careful there. But he's going to treat it like a business. And I don't necessarily disagree with it because That's how everybody wants it to be treated anyways, but that's going to come with some tough, harsh criticism sometime, and Coach Prime's giving it. But I also don't think they would have won this game. I don't. These are tough games that they weren't supposed to win, so I don't think it's a surprise. So I'm not sure they get bowl eligible, but hang in there, Colorado. You'll be all right. All right, let's keep rolling. Arizona 27, UCLA 10. Once again, on the pod, we put UCLA on upset alert. Arizona comes through. 10 fourth quarter points. Helped the Wildcats pull off another upset, their third of the year. Noah Fafita, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Have a day, sir. Have a day. Go ahead.
On him. I don't think we mentioned on this pod before. He's a freshman. He's a freshman. And so 2 more years of him working on it, getting through. This is a kid I can 100% see on Sundays. Just the way he works in the pocket, the way he scans the field. It's absolutely beautiful to watch.
Let's not even get to Sunday. Arizona going to start flirting with the CFP if they get some guys in there, okay?
We'll see, yeah. But honestly, other than him, that defense dominated. 10 points, 271 yards allowed. And honestly, the easiest upset prediction of the year on this pod by far, because we all saw this coming.
Yeah, Arizona was prime for it. UCLA they kind of struggled with Colorado, but they haven't been playing outstanding. Listen, that's what we're here for, okay? To make you some money, okay, if we can, but more importantly, to let you know what's going to happen. Not a oof for us, but a oof for our Air Force. Our Army, 23, Air Force 3. This is all that needs to be said on this, and we're moving on. 6 Army turnovers, baby. Go Army, beat Navy. Tulane, 13-10 over ECU. Tulane, you are not long for the rankings. You continue playing like this. I'm gonna just put it out there. They are gonna put a 2-loss, a 3-loss, a 1-loss team in there over you if you continue to struggle with who you have on the field. I don't care whether or not that's unfair or not. Those are just facts. I'm sorry. And in our last game of the review around the country, some could argue was still one of the best games of all day because they did not stop. Ole Miss 38, Texas A&M 35. A late Junkins TD saves Ole Miss and buries Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies because the kicker couldn't do his job. Go ahead.
I disagree. Although, yes, he missed the field goal, and that's what we're going to talk about. The play, go on.
Just in case you decided to tune into the Straub Sports Show for the first time this week, no one is going to be more critical of kickers with real knowledge of some kicking than the two of us on this pod. I say get it over the blocker, but go ahead and tell me I'm wrong.
The only issue is the play before you were in field goal position. You could have just ran the clock out. You take a sack.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are a head coach, you know how long your kickers got. Even if you don't, you ask people who work with him, you know how far your kickers got. And you go, okay, we're here. He can probably make it from here. You have to tell your quarterback, do not take a sack. Throw the ball away, scramble, dump it off, throw it incomplete, something. You cannot take a sack because you know, and it was short. It's not like he missed left or right. He was short. And that's where I get, do your job, be a kicker, make the kick. Sometimes you have limitations. And your coach and team has to know that.
There was, I'm pretty sure there was a hand that got to it, but I know. I understand. Listen. The only other thing we're going to do be more critical on college is the kicker, because you literally have one job, do your job, is coaches who are supposed to be, because they're the highest paid people in all of sports for a reason. So Jimbo Fisher, do your job. Jimbo Fisher, awful. Like overrated, awful, not good. I'm sorry.
I think out of touch, I think is a good word for it, because he was good. I think he's just gotten to a point where he's not the same coach as he was.
Yeah. Shout out to Josh. I'm sorry, he distracted me. Yeah, you're right. Confirm his comfortable range under pressure. Like Josh said, absolutely. He's been there before. He's done it. He's seen the kickers. He knows. He's been in the locker room with them. Absolutely, 100%. Get your kicker in order, know what he's going to do, and be there. Jimbo Fisher, what are you doing? Week in and week out, I feel like we're asking that question. What are you doing? All right, buddy. That was a good little ride.
Whoa. You put that banner back up there. We have missed a game, sir.
Not in my notes. We covered all the games this week, buddy.
Now listen. Last week we had a game that we wanted to talk about, very near and dear to your heart. Notre Dame versus Clemson.
They played this
And
past weekend?
they did. And do you want to know what you said about the game?
I don't know if I have a choice in this matter.
You don't. For everyone here, let's enjoy this clip.
She is a Clemson fan. I am an Irish lover. She don't have a chance in hell.
All right. So now we have that set. Let's look at the scoreline. I'm predicting an Irish blowout. Let's get the notes here. Let's get it wrapped up. Notre Dame 23, Clemson 31. Dabo becomes the most winningest coach in Clemson history with 166. Bro, what happened?
So just so everybody's aware, I want to run that back. She is a Clemson fan. I am an Irish lover. She don't have a chance in hell. Oh, man. Dabo is my bleeping kryptonite. He really is. Between the hurricane, bring your own guts. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Josh said it best. No, Drew. No. Yeah, he got me. He got me, Oos. Yeah. Phew. I like my humble pie cooked a little bit longer, keeping in the oven for a couple more minutes for me. Yeah, we got whooped, man. Okay, it is what it is. That score was not close. We got whooped. Okay. Once again, in one of our losses, we get pushed around and dominated. We absolutely did. Clemson came out to play. It was the caller in the Dabo show. He stirred the pot. You're absolutely right. He had Tyler from wherever you were. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Quoting scripture at Dabo. So yeah, all the stock. Yeah, I hope everyone bought the stock. Yep, I got another quote. BYO, bring your own guts. If Clemson is down, buy all the stock you can right now. Dabo, I'm coming next year. Okay, just eat. I'll eat it today, and I'll eat it. I got to. I got no choice. But we're coming again next year, and I'll be talking the same smack next year. Yeah, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? All right.
Yeah. No, listen.
Yeah.
Honestly, the weirdest thing was that you got physically bullied the entire game, which is rare for a Notre Dame team.
You know what? We're beyond past the middle of the season. It's the norm when they lose. When they lose, they get bullied. They don't lose. They don't lose close games. They get bullied in them, and they get blown out. Louisville, blown out. This Clemson game, they didn't get blown out in the Ohio State game, but still. The other game we lost, it's missing my head. I'm sorry. There's 4 of them now. Sorry, I can't keep track of them all right now. Yeah, and I agree with Pops. Yeah, I know I nailed it on the head, Pops. That's what I do. Dabo, kryptonite. I mean, he absolutely owns the Irish. It is what it is. The only time we whooped them last year. Okay, we did. Okay, because he kept throwing at the freshman and said that's an inside joke. Andre Estime. We ran all over him. But other than that, other than a COVID win, Dabo's owned us. Can I move on now?
We can move on. That's fine.
Thank you. I'm pulling the banner now. We're done. Pulling in the driveway. All right. Well, I guess I'll just keep going. Head slaps and chest bumps. Our head slaps of the weekend. Hey, what a surprise. My Irish are my first head slap. I can't escape it all over the place. Like, we don't need to recover that. We pretty much just did that. So, my overs, sorry about that. Pac-12 ones kind of hit. US, we'll get to those, but my overs did not hit as much as they will. Maryland, Kansas State, Iowa State. Sorry about Maryland. I'm sorry about Maryland. I won't ever do that again. I'm out. Kansas State, Iowa State. I mean, Kansas State, you blew it. Okay, I didn't get that wrong. I got it right. They took Texas to overtime and should have had a chance to win the game. Iowa State were this close. Absolutely. Mel, you know what, Mel? We're going to talk about the Buckeyes. I know. Everybody just piling on Ken today. I get it. That's fine. So, yeah, those are my head slaps. Drew, give me your head slaps and then give me your chest bumps.
Yes. Hey, you know what? I'll give it to you. I picked Notre Dame to big win, too, so that's a head slap for me. It's not all on you. I'm sure half of America.
I don't see your clip in here.
I listened. It cut off at the exact right moment. Um, other ones, Arizona State thought they were going to keep it close. No, not even close. And then Air Force, because Army, I'm sorry, you played an absolutely perfect game and beat Air Force at their own game, and Air Force couldn't do anything. So those are the big head slaps for me. A couple other small ones. Tulane, I had them winning big. They won by a little bit. And then Ole Miss, I thought they were going to win big. They won by a little bit. So, some small ones, but nothing too terrible. All right.
Pump the chest. Pump the chest.
Oh, listen, we're pumping hard today because we got some big ones.
Pause.
Both teams that I loved last week, and both all U's that I love, that I was all U last week, exactly as I predicted. Oklahoma State pulled off the upset. So did Arizona, exactly how we said. And then I said Rutgers hype. Obviously, they gave Ohio State a test, but the Rutgers hype and the Cal hype was a little overdone, and they couldn't keep up with Ohio State or Oregon. It's exactly how it was. So those are the big ones. That's exactly as I thought. Some other small ones. We got Texas. We got Oregon State. We got Washington, Penn State, Kansas. All those little small ones that they won. Wasn't really like entirely high on, but I picked them to win, and they did exactly what I thought they would.
Give myself a little love now that everybody's beat up on me for the past couple of minutes. Like we said, we hit Oklahoma State. We hit that bet. We hit that prediction. Arizona upset. I told you about Hawaii. Got that one. Ole Miss to cover. Got that one. Barely. Colorado points. I thought Colorado would keep it in, but they covered. So that's the most important part. So, all right, we made some money. That's what matters. All right, Drew. It's time. Time to bring up a conversation that me and you have not actually had on the pod together. Check out last Friday, me, Mel, yes, who made his debut back to his own show this past week, and Rico did a 3-man pod. And one of the important topics that we touched on was the Heisman race. So what I want to do first for everybody is kind of bring up who has a chance to be in the room, basically. And then from there, we're going to give you who we think is going to get in the room. So first things first, let's put them up. Yes, there they are. I'm going to leave this one up for a second. We have Michael Penix Jr., quarterback of Washington, Bo Nix, quarterback at Oregon, Jordan Travis, quarterback at Florida. There's a theme here. Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver, the Ohio State University, J.J. McCarthy, quarterback, Michigan, Carson Beck, quarterback at Georgia, Ali Gordon II, running back at Oklahoma State, Jane Daniels, quarterback at LSU, Shedeur Sanders, quarterback at Colorado, and Caleb Williams of USC. So, as you see some stats there, now, what you see about that CFP in that light blue, those are the guys playing for the Heisman, right now that still have a very, very clear or good chance to get into the college football playoffs. Ali Gordon, I have CFPC. That is for college football playoff chaos, because if there is some chaos, Oklahoma State might be able to, with their schedule, kind of sneak up and possibly get in. So those are your top guys in the country. Drew, let's argue. Here is our Heisman rooms. I have Michael Penix Jr., Marvin Harrison Jr., Jaden Daniels, Ali Gordon, and Shedeur Sanders. You also have Michael Penix Jr., Jaden Daniels, and Shedeur Sanders. However, we differ on two, and that would be Bo Nix and Caleb Williams. Go ahead and yell at me because I already know the first question that you want to ask.
How is Bo Nix not on your Heisman room? Like, I get that he might not be the best quarterback in the nation, but he is, especially lately, has been absolutely pivotal for the Oregon Ducks and an absolute just baller on the field. I want to hear from you, actually, because I want to hear your reasoning.
He's 28 years old, and he should be an NFL 4-year veteran. That's why. No, I mean, that's actually kind of true. So I can have here full 100% honesty. You could take Jaden Daniels off my list and put Bo Nix there, and I would not be angry. Jaden Daniels is having an outstanding year. He had an outstanding game against Alabama, and you could argue that if he doesn't get hurt in the games that he's gotten banged up, LSU is undefeated, and LSU is the one playing for the national championship or, in the mix here. So I think Bo Nix is having a great year. I do. I think if Bo Nix wins out, he's in the Heisman race. Here's my question to you. How do none of you have Ollie Gordon in your Heisman house? All right. The guy is absolutely a monster. He's ran off, and I got to switch back. I apologize because I don't have his stats off the top of my head. 1,224 yards, 12 touchdowns, 7 yards to carry. The man is almost averaging a first down when you hand him the ball. Okay. And he's the reason Oklahoma State is in the college, is even in ranked or even let alone in touching distance for the college football playoffs. So the same thing you guys all say about Bo Nix, I'm going to say about Ollie Gordon. The other thing that I want to point, go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. The only reason why I think I don't have Ollie Gordon on here, because he has the stats.
And you better not say 2 losses because you got a guy up there with multiple.
No. The only issue is, and you can agree with me on this whether we like it or not, this is a quarterback award. Devontae Smith won it a couple years ago. Before that, the last one to get it was Derrick Henry in 2015. Like, it's not common. So to be a non-quarterback and win the Heisman, I think the biggest thing you need to have is domination of your position. And Ollie Gordon, incredible running back, will play on Sundays, doing great. I don't think he dominates his own position as much as the other running backs or wide receivers that won the Heisman have. Because Devontae Smith was in leagues of his own on an Alabama team that had 5 different weapons that all went to the thing. So I think that's my only issue, is that I have yet to seen a player, non-quarterback, absolutely stand out the way that those others have. And I was thinking Marvin Harrison, but then again, we look at this past week, only 25 yards. He has the 2 touchdowns, but it's one of those times where that's a position where if you get screened out of a game, that's detrimental, because that shows that it can happen.
100%. I said this on Friday when I was talking to Mel and Rico. If Marvin Harrison Jr. had Michael Penix Jr., Jane Daniels, Jordan Travis, or Caleb Williams, Shador Sanders, he would be leading the Heisman race, because his quarterback would be shining every week, but his play would also be absolutely outshining everyone too. So I gave love to 2 outside quarterbacks. I would argue this. I can get rid of Jane Daniels and put Bo Nix in for you. There is no way. And I love him. I think he's the number 1 pick. I said it. I think he's the number 1 pick. Caleb Williams has no business being in that Heisman race. Yes, he's got great stats. He really does. But he has absolutely let his team down on a couple occasions. I know the defense has as well, but there's just been too much. And I'm sorry, this has something to do with it. You've won the Heisman, and this year you have been completely un-Heisman-like on everything that happens when you get off the field, and that is absolutely playing into it, and I'm letting it play into it. So I think Caleb Williams has no business being there. I give you Bo Nix. I don't think he's second if he is there. The one thing we do agree on, Michael Penix Jr., clear and far away, number 1. Absolutely. It's his to lose. However, while it is his to lose, it doesn't mean that it can't be slipped up. He absolutely could slip this up and mess this up and take himself out of contention. So it is possible. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm moving the camera around. Shout out to Mom. Mom's late. Mom's already normally in here. Mom just jumped in. What's going on, Mom? Mom, and just see here. We got to do it for Mom. Mom, there it is. You see it scrolling on the bottom. Bam. Straub Sports Show. Welcome in, Mom. There it is. All right. So your Heisman race.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ready to put my money on it yet.
I fair enough.
Michael Penix Jr. is your leader in the clubhouse in Vegas. I'm not ready. All right, Drew. It's time to do it again. And that would be take a tour around the country. All right. That's because we have to scope out the best games of the week. And this guy is killing me because he keeps trying to put the things up there, but he keeps forgetting to restart them. So that's okay. We'll ride that up there. So let's go for a ride. Number 13, Tennessee, only a 1-point favorite at number 14, Missouri. Can the Tigers rebound? Can the Vols stay hot? Like we said, Volunteers put up 59 on UConn, but it is UConn. Okay. They average 35 a game, but can they score on a defense, on a Missouri defense that averages about 24, a little bit inflated? Missouri might enjoy a shootout this week after having to get into a beat up physical match with Georgia. All of a sudden, Missouri is disrespected. Like we said, I mean, look, they played Georgia well. They deserved to be there. They deserved to have the point spread. But all of a sudden, Tennessee beats up on UConn, and all of a sudden, Missouri is nobody. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I don't know, because the line is saying Tennessee, obviously. Statistically,
only one, so it's basically a pick 'em. Let's be honest.
That's true, and the stats kind of lead towards Tennessee. However, Missouri has a much tougher strength of schedule, and if I'm being honest, in the SEC, playing at home matters. Those crowds are absolutely ridiculous, no matter like what time it is. And so I tend to lead towards Missouri just because when I watch them against Georgia, the only thing I would maybe put against them is maybe now they're let down because their biggest game of the season didn't go their way. But I still like Missouri to bounce back from that.
I do too. And this is no disrespect to Tennessee. I mean, the big games, they kind of have struggled. I know they beat Texas A&M. Everybody beats Texas A&M, but they did struggle with Texas A&M. They lost to Alabama. So I don't know. I kind of agree with you. This is a pick 'em, so I kind of stayed away from it. But I like bounce backs. I mean, we've kind of seen it all year where big teams have dropped the week before after a big upset, and then those teams that usually have getting knocked off have responded the next week. So I kind of agree. All right. We took a tour of Missouri. Let's keep it rolling. Our next big game, and this is strap them in. There's going to be some shootouts again this week. Number 18, Utah at number 5, Washington. Washington, 8.5-point favorites. Both offenses are rolling, but Utah has not exactly showed up for every big game this year. Heisman leader, as we just talked about, Michael Penix Jr. has Washington rolling offensively, and honestly, only a couple teams can score like USC, okay? And that's Washington, Oregon, LSU. Okay, those are off the top of your head. Those are the offenses that can hang with USC. So I'm not going to get on the defense anymore, but Utah is not that. So I like Michael Penix Jr. to absolutely go off here in a closer game, but I think it's going to go off. Talk to me.
Yeah, we'll see, because this is, I would say, the biggest defensive test for Michael Penix Jr. all year. Utah is number 9 in yards allowed per game, and this is a team that maybe, but not Utah or Oregon, but everyone else has shut down. Honestly, just absolutely lowered their offensive attack by a lot. And honestly, Utah has a chance to score against Washington because that defense isn't great. However, Utah does not want to get into a shootout because Washington will win that completely, hands down. So that's a big key. Also, another big key, Utah can get to the quarterback. They are number 10 in sack percentage per game. And so that is their key, is to get to Michael Penix Jr. And what Michael Penix Jr. has to do, what he has done all year, escape the pocket, make plays, show you're the Heisman candidate. And I think that's what he'll do, honestly.
So Utah can get to the quarterback. Obviously, well, how do you stop them from getting quarterback? You block well. Yeah, duh. How else do you stop them from getting the quarterback? Being able to do play action. How does the play action help you? Running the ball. They ran the ball very, very, very well last week, and I know it's USC, but Utah does not play. Utah is not a defensive juggernaut, okay? They're not about to come out here and hammer you defensively. So I think with the way Washington has shown to be able to run the ball, and with the way Michael Penix Jr. is playing, I like Washington. I like the points, and I love the over at 54.5. Now, these lines, and this is a big theme this week, I got some of these lines early at some things that are not the same now. This one has been moving, but I love this over a 54.5. Washington can score 54 on their own. Let's keep it moving. Now, I know they're unranked, but if you don't think this is a big game, you don't know college football. Unranked USC at number 6 Oregon. Oregon favored by 14.5. Like I said, strap in, folks. We're going again. This is Saturday night late. This is a 10:30 kickoff. So somebody should be fired because this game should be flexed. I don't even know if you can flex college games, but flex them. This is worth staying up for. Oregon's coming in with the high-powered offense. to run with a high-powered offense to run with the best. Honestly, they're playing as good as anyone. Now I know he wasn't in mine, but both hit Knicks. Your Heisman candidate is we get another Heisman versus Heisman candidate, Heisman winner versus Heisman candidate. I mean, this is gonna be great. Caleb Williams is gonna hope to dry his tears and get his offense back rolling. Cheap shot. And hope that firing defensive coordinator Alex Grinch with 2 games left magically puts new players and schemes on the field, because that's the only way that the USC is going to be able to play any defense. Listen, man, I said it. Danger. That anybody who's in front of Oregon is in danger. Talk to me.
Yeah, like you said, this is still a top game just because USC can drop 50 at any point in any game at any time. Unfortunately, they're going up against an Oregon team that honestly, right now, I think could beat anyone in the country. They are that good.
Give me Oregon against anybody right now, and I'm going,
Like what Sean said in the chat, that's not a bad idea, is them winning the CFP. They're number 18 in total defense, number 2 in total offense, and only gave up 6 points to a Utah team that beat USC. And so while I think USC definitely has an option for an upset, I like Oregon just beating the brakes off of USC in this one, honestly, just because nothing is stopping them right now.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I agree with this. I am a little scared for Oregon. Like you said, there's an ups. There isn't. Okay. USC got nothing to play for. Okay. So I'm just saying, I think Oregon wins, but they pull away late. So, all right. Here. This is what everyone in the country has wanted. Okay. You get it finally. Number 3, Michigan, favored by 5.5 points, travels to number 10, Penn State, for the whiteout at noon. Once again, Big Ten, we got Oregon playing at 10:30, and we've got Michigan and Penn State at noon. Like, come on. But here we go. And this is kind of short and sweet for me on this one. Put up or shut up, Michigan. Put up or shut up. You win, you're in. Not you're in, but you win. We're done with they haven't played anyone. The schedule is weak. No. But here's a massive test, okay? Because the Nittany Lions are coming to play. Spoiler. Heisman long shot J.J. McCarthy leads Michigan into the whiteout, like we said, against Drew Allar. As much as there is to say, there isn't. Michigan, what you got? Because we don't know exactly, okay? We know you're good. We see the wins. Show us in the committee that you're there, that you're real, and this OSU game absolutely is going to mean something. Talk to me.
Yeah. And this is the first actual test for Michigan, and it's a really good one. Penn State is I'd say a top 3 defense. They look scary, and they finally last week bounced back from that OSU loss, and they're looking to come after people.
If you ever want to see what a noon game would look like at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock, that's what Penn State is going. It's going to be rocking.
Yes, it's going to be rocking. And one thing to note, J.J. McCarthy, we discussed top 10 Heisman candidate around there so far in his career, and we'll just trace it back to last year, hasn't really stood out against top competition. Last year against Penn State, 145 yards and an interception. That's it. And then against TCU, where they lost in the semifinals, 343 yards and 2 touchdowns. Very good. 2 costly interceptions that basically lost them the game. And so this is where we need to see a progression from year 1 to year 2. Can he make that jump and play well against good, even great defenses?
Yeah, I mean, it's put up or shut up time for Michigan, the quarterback, all of this. He's started chirping. McCarthy has, I think that was a linebacker. If everybody wants to put it on, we'll be the villains. Sometimes the villain wins. Michigan is completely. Everyone likes to paint Michigan as these people that nobody likes, and that this team that nobody likes. Well, great. Now they feel like none of you like us. You all hate us. Well, now we got something to play for. So good luck with that. Michigan to cover. I got the over at 44.5.
I like that too, actually.
Okay. Who doesn't love that? It's now 46.5. And I don't love that as much. I'm not going to lie to you. I love 44.5. That's why I got it and I put it in. Okay. When I go tomorrow night and I go tonight to kind of throw in a couple extra parlays and get my degeneracy on, I'm probably not touching the 46.5, but I'm just letting you know. All right. Keep it rolling. Number 9 here we go. Here's your SEC slugfest. Number 9, Ole Miss at number 2, Georgia. Georgia, 11.5 point favorites. Way too much. Georgia, buckle up because you're not done yet. Lane Kiffin versus Kirby Smart. Can the Ole Miss this is going to sound familiar because this has been the key. Can the Ole Miss defense slow down Georgia and trip them up enough to get their offense to get a lead that they'll try not to blow? Because this Ole Miss offense is legit. It can score. It can score on everybody. Okay? They average 39 a game. Georgia only gives up 15. The immovable object, the irresistible force. Get my Gorilla Monsoon on. So this is a big thing. Okay, so one of these has got to give. Georgia can also score, so they can play with you. They can score some points, but just they're so physical. I don't know. Georgia definitely scary here. Talk to me.
Yeah, and honestly, that 11 point spread really tells the story of we're really underrating this Ole Miss team. They're number 13 in strength of schedule. Go on.
Are we underrating Ole Miss, or is this the Georgia effect? You go up against Georgia and all of a sudden we just assume you're going to get blown out.
It might be the Georgia effect, but like I said, they're number 13 in strength of schedule. They only have one loss, and that's, like we said, an Alabama team that is rolling. Like you can't do much about it. However, this is Georgia. This is exactly what they do all year. They start off a little slow offensively. They kind of stay tight. Then they figure out your defense or they figure out your offense, and it's done. And so we're going to see if it's the same story or if it's going to be similar to Missouri where it's kind of close. Where I don't think it's going to be close is the score. I love this being a high-scoring game because, like you said, Ole Miss can score. Yes, Georgia defense is good. We know this, but Ole Miss will put up points. And unfortunately, Ole Miss defense cannot stop other teams from putting up points. And if we look at Georgia, we always credit their defense all the time, and we should. 16.5 points given up per game, incredible defense. But that offense is just as good. 38 points per game, 9th in the nation, 485 yards per game, 8th in the nation. And so this game has a potential to be very similar to LSU Alabama, where it's last person and maybe a little bit of luck on one side gets them through.
Currently the over-under is 57.5, or I'm sorry, that's Tennessee and Missouri. It would be nice if I pulled up the right game. That would be Georgia Ole Miss, 58.5. It's a little high. It's a little
29 to 29.
Right. It's not unreasonable. It's really, really not. Dude, this is Jackson Dart. This is for you. This is your game. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You have to outplay Carson Beck, which based on numbers, I mean, 2,467 yards, 23 total touchdowns, 4 interceptions for Jackson Dart. 27-16, 19 touchdowns, 4 interceptions for Beck. I know he's not asked to do as much. Those Ole Miss offenses are high powered. That's what Lane Kiffin does. But if he plays his average, he's gonna outplay them. And then Ole Miss defense, you have to play out Georgia's defense. You're gonna need some luck. You need a fumble. You need a bounce. You need a pick six. You need a kickoff return. You need something. So I'm going to be honest. I do kind of like the 58.5 over. Okay. Mm-hmm. I will say because we missed it and I wanted to point it out because it is just the committee or the Vegas is on to us. The over under for USC Oregon is 74.5. So they're already hip to us. But I like this one. I do. This is a great game. Okay. All right. But nothing has me betting against Georgia until I watch it live. Give me Georgia.
No.
All right. Yeah. Let's hit the highway, bro. We're going to cruise through the rest of these, okay? Yes, I will let you drive a little bit, okay? But we'll get there. First, Virginia at number 11, Louisville. Louisville favored by 20.5 points. Jawar Jordan runs amok, gets over 1,000 for the season, I think. Cardinals take care of the rest of Virginia. They've already taken care of Virginia Tech. I think they take care of him easily. 21 is a lot. It really is. But I like Louisville. I don't know about that cover.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with the cover just because this is a Virginia team that beat North Carolina and went to overtime with Miami. So they've played close games.
Yeah.
However, the biggest stat that I found, Louisville is only allowing 88 rushing yards per game, which is 8th in the country. Absolutely ridiculous. And I think that's what puts Louisville over the top.
Absolutely. Speaking of one of our big teams, number 8, Alabama, 11-point favorites at Kentucky. I think this is another simple one. Jalen Milroe, another 3-touchdown day. Yes, I'm saying that. 3 touchdowns. I like Roll Tide. I like the points. Yes, I like Alabama by more than 11. And I love the over. Now, at the time, I had it at 48.5. But since I was able to pick this up for the other game, I will do a double check. It is now, oh, wow. I've got it at 48.5. It's now 46.5 here on FanDuel. I love the over. I love either one. Take those overs. All right. Keys are yours.
Thank you. All right, let's get back. All right. 4-5 Texas Tech travel to number 16 Kansas. Now, Kansas survived the game last week at Iowa State in primetime and has an easier matchup this week. But next week is Kansas State. And so we're looking to see if they're going to overlook a Texas Tech team that has been up and down, yes, but just beat TCU. So, Ken, do you think that they're going to overlook Texas Tech here?
Absolutely. No, or absolutely not. No more letdowns. Jayhawks are real. Kansas is favored by 3.5. I think they covered. Absolutely. Joshua Varney, Roll Tide, roll up on Cletus. So yeah, I think that's an easy one.
All right. I completely agree. So let's keep moving. Number 23, Tulane, host 3-6 Tulsa. Tulane, obviously massive favorites, but they haven't won by double digits since October 13th. Very close games. However, they're at home and they're playing an old American team. This is one that's been in there for a while. They know each other. I like Tulane comfortable win. What about you?
I think the green you like. I like the green wave down to drown Tulsa. Green wave to drown Tulsa. Yeah, you like that pun. I don't like the cover. I don't like 22. No, I'm good on that. I'm sorry. They haven't showed me enough for me to think that they're gonna all of a sudden blow things away. Give me the keys back. I'm driving. Miami at number 4, Florida State. Florida State favored by 14.5 points. I mean, this is a great game with the great rivalry with real history. Wide left, wide right. Old Bobby Bowden games back in the day. Is somebody finally going to trip up Florida State? I mean, that's what it's going to come down to. Jordan Travis, you wanted that Heisman. We didn't put you in either of our Heisman rooms. You're up there. This is your chance to have a Heisman moment. You go out and beat up Miami. It doesn't matter who you are. You beat up Miami on a national stage. People are going to respect that. The Hurricanes defense is a defense that could trip up the Seminoles, but Miami doesn't have the offense to keep up with barely anyone right now. I think Florida State handles business.
Yep, I agree. The only thing that I could see is if Miami gets super up for this game because of the rivalry, and that all depends on the coach and the players buying in. But it looks really tough because they just don't look motivated this year, and Florida State is like hyper focusing on that college football playoff, and they're at home. Give me it, Florida State.
Absolutely. Hey, mom just called. We are late, so let's put it in drive. Number 15, Oklahoma State, 2.5 point favorites at Central Florida, UCF. Fresh off the pod upset, they plan to take the U off and just take them back to being Central Florida. 3 words for you. Ollie, Ollie, Ollie. Touchdown, touchdown,
Oy,
touchdown.
oy, oy.
All right. We them boys again. Oklahoma State. Give them to me. I like them, and I like them to cover.
Yep. Maybe not to cover because UCF is very tough, especially when they're playing at home. But I like Oklahoma State to come and win this one.
Absolutely. Stanford at number 12, Oregon State. Oregon State, 21-point favorites. The Cardinals' defense, okay, is very good, okay? They only gave up 7 points, or they won 10-7 against Washington State. The Stanford team is respectable. Then you're not just going to beat them up. But my Beavers are built different, all right? And they take care of business, but do not cover. I do not like them to cover.
I agree completely.
Oh, I love this game. Joshie, you love this game. West Virginia at number 17, Oklahoma, 12.5-point favorites. I'm going to just read it right down for you. Can the Sooners bounce back? Can the Mountaineers stay hot? Can West Virginia's defense slow down the Sooners enough? Not this time. Sooners win, but I love this over. 58.5. Love, love, love. Tell me I'm wrong.
The last time we talked about West Virginia, I had them losing in my all U's, and I felt bad. And I'm going to have to do it again this time because I don't think Oklahoma's losing 3 in a row. I think they're too good. And I think that being at home, kind of settling down, you're not worried about the college football playoffs anymore. You're not tense. You're loosening up. I think they win this one.
I 100% agree. That over-under is now FanDuel's a little different than Bet365, so some of these are a little under. 57.5. I love it. I added the 58.5 too. I love it. Okay, here you go, Buckeyes. Michigan State at number 1, Ohio State. The Buckeyes are 30.5-point favorites. This is very simple. They get Marvin Harrison Jr. higher into the Heisman mix. I don't think there's any trap games for Ohio State. I think they're all prep games. I like Ohio State big. 30.5. Ooh, but I like Ohio State big.
I like Ohio State big too. And congrats on Michigan State. They had their first win with the new head coach, Harlan Barnett. And as their prize, they get to play number 1 Ohio State with their defense that absolutely just stifles offenses. And they're on the road and they're in prime time. Yeah, give me Ohio State big.
31.5 over under 47.5. Shout out to Michigan State for getting their first win. That program is just an absolute disaster right now, and it's sad to see because that was a program that when I grew up, and obviously you grew up too. And here we got to shout it out. There she is.
I love you.
Lost my train of thought there. Yeah. Michigan State growing up, always a top program, always had good teams. We're always there. We're always a tough opponent. So between this and everything that happened with the gymnastics scandal and everything that's going on now, I think this might be time for a Penn State clean out, just top to bottom, just rip it apart, maybe keep the coach, but I don't know, but just nothing is going good right now there and something needs to change. Okay. Keep it rolling. Number 7, Texas, 9.5-point favorites at TCU. Fine, Texas, you can get some love. Not. No upset alert. I think Texas handles TCU, and I like the 9.5. So here's Texas. Here's some love. I think you win. I think you cover. Anything else?
Nope. Just other than Malik is still going through some growing pains, but if they can beat Kansas State in that good defense, I think they can beat TCU.
All right, you drive for a sec.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right. This one I think actually could be a good game. 5-4 Florida traveling to Death Valley, 6-3, number 19 LSU. Florida been very mediocre this year. They just lost to Arkansas in overtime last week, and LSU have the offense to drop 60 on people. However, Jaden Daniels is questionable going into this week. Hasn't been practicing until maybe today. He was planning to practice today. Don't know if he actually got to. And I think the biggest question is, if Jaden Daniels is out, does this impact your view on this game in terms of who wins?
Oh, absolutely. Jaden Daniels is out. I mean, I'm LSU's on upset alert. Lines are going to be shifting. I'm currently, as we speak on the pod, we're going to break some news here. I'm going to look and see if he did practice today because, it absolutely means everything. He needs a big game, number 1, to stay in the Heisman race to try to keep this in. We're going to get it. But yeah, I think it definitely would change it. I actually think I would like Florida to upset. This is a Brian Kelly coach team. He's got an injury. Like the Brian Kelly coach teams can shatter at any moment, and they usually do when the going gets tough and the games get tough. So he did not practice Tuesday. I'm not seeing anything right now. Probable now. So he's been upgraded to probable. I'm sorry, that took way too long. But yeah, it definitely changes. I'd pick Florida. I'd put LSU on upset alert if Jaden Daniels does not play in this game. All right, I'm taking back over. Rutgers at 22 Iowa. Rutgers making their second Straub Bro Sports Show appearance. Iowa, welcome back. Iowa open up as 1.5-point favorites. I think Iowa makes a brief appearance on the CFP rankings, and I have them on upset alert. I think Rutgers played OSU great for 3 quarters, had the lead at halftime. I think there are positives to take out of that game to then put right into the Iowa game plan and beat Iowa. Before I give you an absolute hilarious Iowa quarterback stat, tell me if I'm wrong.
The only thing I'm going to say right now, Iowa, number 17 in total defense. Dead last in total offense.
Iowa quarterback Deacon Hill, 5 starts, 11 fewer completions in all of them. Okay? 11 fewer completions in football. Okay? He might as well be playing for Army or Air Force, okay, or a triple option team. I think Scarlet Knights I think they got some fight left. I think they showed it. I think Rutgers wins. So yeah, give me Rutgers. So take that points too. Okay, number 21, Arizona, 10.5-point favorites at Colorado. Question for you, Drew. Is it a gimmick, or do I actually believe every week in a Colorado upset? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Okay. Now I get it. They have not played well. I understand. Okay. But this offense is dangerous. When Shador has more than a half a second to throw the ball, which he obviously doesn't. All right. Arizona looks like the best team in the country right now. I'm not joking. They look that good. Okay. If you watch them play, they have 3 losses. Those are to USC and Washington. There's a bad Mississippi State overtime loss in there, but they are absolutely on fire. Arizona to cover. Arizona on the over 55.5. I'm sorry, Coach Prime. We are still Coach Prime. Coach Prime, my glasses are ordered, by the way. My sunglasses are ordered, but they haven't shipped yet. I don't know if there's a backlog on some orders. If you could help me push that ahead, I'll definitely change my pick over next week on the pod. But in the meantime, I'm taking Arizona. We love you, Coach Prime.
Acceptance is the last step of denial. So I appreciate, I agree. So I really appreciate it. Yeah, Colorado's lost all momentum, and I think it honestly went to Arizona. Arizona, that defense is great. That Colorado defense is not great. Give me Arizona.
You're absolutely right. All right, Drew, drive us home for the last game.
Yes, sir. Actually, we got 2 games.
Oh, you have 2. My bad, I missed one.
2
Go ahead.
games. No, you're good. 3-6 Baylor traveled to number 25 Kansas State. Kansas State, close overtime loss to Texas. Very close. Looking to bounce back. But Baylor also had an overtime loss to Houston, but that made 2 in a row. Kansas State are massive favorites, and I really tend to agree because this Baylor team is not the Baylor teams we've seen. Give me Kansas State big. What about you?
I'm sorry, not sorry for not having anything for this game. Keep it rolling.
No worries. Let's keep it rolling. And the last game, 6-3 Duke. Who would have thought we said that beginning of the year? Against traveling to 7-2, finally back in number 24 North Carolina.
Who are favored by 14. Sorry, who are favored by 14.
That's a lot. Both teams bouncing back from 2 straight losses. Duke did have the better win against Wake Forest, while North Carolina dominated. By the way, this is the team's name. The Campbell Fighting Camels, which I think might be the best mascot name I've ever heard.
And if you were watching college football all weekend, they broke into one of the games to show you that score because Campbell was playing them well. Okay, yeah. Campbell Soup was holding them in.
Yeah, and while I think Duke is the more talented team overall, I don't think they can function without Riley Leonard. And so I like you at UNC. I'll talk about it a little later, but yeah.
I mean, dude, Duke, North Carolina. It's an historic. I mean, you're talking Mike Krzyzewski. You're talking. Oh, my bad. Wrong sport. However, I'm going to use this historic rivalry because it is an historic rivalry to break a little bit of news on the pod. We will, once college regular season kind of comes to an end, when we have less games, some time after conference championship games, before bowl games, and when the college football season ends, we are going to be covering college basketball, and we're going to hit it. We're going to hit it hard. So absolutely be ready, okay? And not just men's college basketball, women's college basketball. I watched LSU Colorado. LSU is must watch. So are the Irish. So is South Carolina. there are good women's teams as well. Okay. So we're going to be covering that. I went quad box. Okay. The other night, I absolutely went quad box. I had MAC football up. Okay. On the top two, I had Ohio in a parlay. Okay. They won 20-10. Okay. I watched Northern Iowa and Texas. Yes, I did. In a great back and forth overtime game. And I watched the Jerry Stackhouse led Vanderbilt. Yes, Jerry Stackhouse, your head coach of Vanderbilt, get roasted in the second half by Presbyterian. Okay. They tried to make it a game late. Okay. But what I'm telling you is we're already locked in. By March, you are going to be Joel Lombardi filling out your own bracket for the committee. Okay. Because we're going to have you covered for college basketball. We'll go super in depth game by game like this, but the big stories, the big players, the big teams, the big conferences, little conferences as well, we're going to be hitting that stuff. All of that being said, UNC wins, covers, give me the over 50.5. All right, buddy. It's time to do one of my favorite things. We gonna hit our state of Ohio games, okay? Most of them have already happened. That would be Bowling Green State University capping off my Ohio parlay and beating up on Kent State last night. My Bowling Green, if you've been following the pod and you're not rolling with the Falcons every week, you are losing money because we're making money on them every week. Just throwing that out there. Akron beat up by Miami of Ohio. We will be at the Akron, Ohio game. The two of us, along with Mel, along with Rico, the 216 Sports Network. Look for us there. We will be doing a next day, maybe possibly same day pod, complete review of that Akron, Ohio game with highlights included. Stay tuned for that. Eastern Michigan, Toledo. Sorry, Toledo. Drew, Cincinnati at Houston. Houston, 2.5 point favorites. Come on, man. Give me some Bearcat pride. Pump it up for us.
Yeah, well, this makes 7 in a row that UC has lost. But they are looking better week to week, especially offensively. They're looking a lot better. They're looking more in tune with each other, which is what you expect from a team that was basically filled by transfers after Coach Luke Fickell left. This is a familiar game. If you remember 2 years ago, we beat Houston in our conference championship game in the American to seal basically our college football playoff berth.
This man was on the field for it. I got a framed photo of him over there.
Yes.
I think it's actually somewhere off in the corner, I think a little bit too. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. That man on the field in there somewhere.
Yes. Probably about right here.
Right here. There you go.
But obviously different circumstances this time. Both teams kind of slumping in their first year in the Big 12. So it's going to be an interesting game. I do actually kind of like UC in this just because I feel like they're on the uprise a little more than Houston, and I think Houston's kind of turning down a little bit. However, I think the big thing to look for early on in last week's game against UCF, about the first or second drive, Emory Jones was pulled, non-injury related, for backup Brady Lichtenberg. Brady Lichtenberg had a couple drives, one ended in a fumble. The next time, Emory Jones came in, started the rest of the way. I think this is probably the last straw for Emory Jones. He's a senior. He's not coming back next year. He's graduating. We don't have anything to play for. I think this might be the last time we see Emory, just due to this being a wash rest of the season and wanting to get new guys in to see what we've got.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. If he's not going to be back, I want to give somebody an opportunity. Sorry, shout out to Jay-Z. Anytime you say Emory Jones, that's all I can think of. All right, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. I agree. And you know what? I also agree that I kind of like Cincinnati. Stay tuned for that later. All right. Shout out to our cousin Josh. I know he's been waiting for this because we're going to talk about his little brother here in a second because it's a family affair thing on the Straub Bros Sports Show. And it is one of my favorite segments all week. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Tiffin time. We're going to talk about the Tiffin Dragons. 44-10 win over Ohio Dominican this past weekend. They jumped up to 14th in the AFCA Division II rankings after a dominant win. 41 of the 44 points in the first half, locked up of a share of at least a share, minimum share of the GMAC championship with a win and a Finley loss. Keegan Ray, not our cousin Keegan, 260 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Our cousin Keegan, not the quarterback, who helps all week, like we talked about, and I missed this, and this is 100% on me, flies the drones for the offense and the defense for the practice footage. So, obviously, my man does some good work. Practice films, helping the guys with the signals, helping guys get ready for the game, going over footage, making sure everybody's stepped in line. So I checked in with him again this week and had a couple questions for Key. So first question was 41 points in the first half, 27 in the second quarter specifically. Like, how proud of the defense? As of course, coach speak, because the man knows what he's talking about. The boys played amazing, a pick, a great effort, plays on the ball. Absolutely loved it. You know that. My second question for him was, when you dominate a game like that, is critique harder come film time, especially, when you're beating up on a team like that, or with a less dominant second half, does that kind of help? You know what I mean? Help with that. Definitely showed off in the first half a little. It's well deserved, he said. But the coaches are for sure going to get on the boys about the second half a bit, because it's football and there's things to learn from every play, good or bad. I agree. They kind of, they only put up 3 points in the second half. So obviously you were dominating, you were winning, you were getting some other guys in and out. But, most important question. I asked him, lastly, you locked up a partial title for the GMAC title. I've got to assume the message since Saturday has been, job's not done. Job isn't finished. Number one, is that true? And number two, what's the vibe going into this last game of the season and the chance to lock it up? His response is definitely what everyone is thinking. Job's not done, especially since the last 2 years have not been the best against them. I think it adds a little bit more. The vibe this week is great. Lock down the guy across from you, dominate the line of scrimmage, dominate both sides of the ball. So first of all, shout out to Keegan. He's been busy. The reason I'm reading these for you, I'm just going to be honest, between school, between work, and between all of this college football, he doesn't have time to get on with us. He doesn't want to jinx things. He doesn't want to be a distraction. So I want to give him a shout out for even answering some of these questions, because he has every right to kind of shut it down and lock it in-house, but give us a little bit of insight of what's going on with these guys. When the season is over, look for Keegan. He's going to be on with us. We're going to run through a day in the life of a Tiffin football player. We're going to check in with at the end of the season. We're going to show off some really, really big rings, because that's how my team does it. Really big rings. Shout out to you, Keegan. We love you. That's your Tiffin time moment. All right, buddy. Let's keep it rolling. We're heavy this week, but that's what we do. It's time to give you the teams we love, and the teams that were just like, all you. I'm going to go first. I love college football. That's my love. Between this week and last week, it is literally spoiling us. Heisman winner versus Heisman candidate, week 2. That's my other love. It's eliminator week. Okay. None of this we got left out crap. It's time to start getting teams out. Teams are going to start dropping off. I also really love the Heisman crew. Okay. I think all our Heisman guys are going to have some big games. Clemson. I like them this week.
That had to hurt.
I like them this week. Moving on. And I like the overs this week as well. Drew, who do you love?
I love a lot this week. All top 8 teams I love. Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, Washington, Oregon, Texas, Alabama. Wanted to name them all. Maybe not big, but I like them all to win. Also, I said I was going to come back on this. I love Rutgers. That Iowa defense, it's really good, but that offense is absolutely atrocious. They haven't scored over 20 points in the past 4 weeks. And honestly, I think there's Josh going Tiffin, baby.
Oh, hold on. I gotta, because he's in and he's watching. There he is. Give a shout out to Keegan. Keegan, we appreciate you for giving us Tiffin time. We wouldn't be able to do it without you. Good luck to the boys this week. Go and get it. Dominate like you've been. Big love to you. My bad, Drew. Keep going.
No, we're good. Yeah, I love Rutgers. And honestly, they make turnovers. As long as they keep doing that, I think they're going to win. And honestly, I love the under in this game too. I don't touch on bets. I like the under this because an Iowa under is basically the same as a Pac-12 over. It just hits. It hits.
Listen, you know what? I'm not even, and I'm going to catch me on the fly because I finally closed FanDuel for a second, and because I thought I was good, but I'm running back here now because these things have been updating kind of on the fly on us.
12 points.
Wow, that's very, very hurtful of you. It's 28.5, so it might as well be. You said you like the under on the 28.5.
Yeah.
Man,
Yes.
I'm not upset with you. All right. All you this week. Duke versus North Carolina. Why would you touch this? Just leave it be. We will touch the real Duke North Carolina here in a couple weeks when we start talking college basketball. Leave this the absolute heck alone. My other all U's, Oklahoma, all you. I know they still might win against West Virginia. I don't like it, all you. Oregon State, Tulane, those points. I don't like any of those guys. Oklahoma, Oregon State, Tulane. I don't like the points. Stay away. The unders, like we talked about, going against the Heisman guys. No, thank you. And since we already did it, Iowa. Sorry, not sorry. All you. I want nothing to do with Iowa. Drew?
I'm a very loving man this week. I only got one all use. However, it's very similar to you, but it's not Duke, North Carolina. It's just Duke. The coaching, I mean, I will give him credit. The coaching staff finally did the smart thing, kept Riley Leonard out with his injury. But their offense wasn't great with him. It's worse without him. They won against Wake Forest last week. We know that. They were outgained 400 to 267. And so that it's not even a good win. UNC, they got a get right game against Campbell. They're motivated again since they're back in the top 25.
A get right game against Campbell. Get the hell.
It is.
All you. This game is all you. Stay away from it. Like I said, we will get you to the real Duke, North Carolina, when it is time. All right. So you've heard about it. We've been touching on them. Let's get to some money. Money. And that would be some bets. So here's some things that I really, really like. I told you I liked overs this week. Michigan, Penn State. Love that 45.5. It keeps going up. As it keeps going up, get away from it. Just check back on the under. Utah, Washington, no brainer. Alabama, Kentucky. We showed Alabama can score, so why not? West Virginia, Oklahoma, another no brainer. Arizona, Colorado. I like that. Okay. I like that. I like that over. I think Arizona will carry it, and then I think Colorado will bring it up towards the end. My teams, I like Alabama. I told you I like the points. I like them. Yes, I told you I liked Clemson. I'm buying the stock when they're low. There, Dabo. Are you happy? Clip that shit for next week, Drew. I'm buying the stock when you're down. There you go. Clemson, minus 650. LSU, I like the points. I like LSU. Texas. Oh, and I like that LSU if he's playing. If he's not, hammer Florida. Get in on it now. Put a little bet in on Florida now. Get in early because if he's ruled out, all those odds are going to flip. It may even come off the board. So try to get it while you can. Texas 9.5. I love it. I love Texas here. I'm giving you some love, Texas. I've been beating you up for 3 or 4 weeks. There's some love. South Carolina. How about them Gamecocks? I like them. A little punchy. I like South Carolina in there. Excuse me. And then there it is. Arizona 10.5. I like them to cover. I like them over. Put those together. I think that's a good one. Now, it isn't just about bets. Sometimes it's about upsets. Yeah, corny. Ladies and gentlemen, I love Rutgers. So does he. Hammer that. Points, money line, whatever you want to do. I like the money line, honestly, better than the points. You get better. You might get some better odds rolling with it. Hawaii, plus 740. Yes, I know. Listen, can you just roll with me on these upsets, man? I got you here, okay? Penn State, if you like them to take down Michigan, there you go. The U, if you like Miami to take down Florida State, there it is for you. UCF, if you like them to all of a sudden get up there and make a game of this for Oregon State, plus 114. Utah, like I said, if you like these upsets, here they are. There's Utah over Washington, plus 275. Ole Miss over Georgia, plus 390. I like that UC. Absolutely love that plus 105. And like I said, to keep that theme rolling, or keep that thing rolling, whatever we got to do. If you like the upsets, there's West Virginia, plus 430. All right. Country Roads, take me home, baby. Okay. I like it. So just throwing it out there. I wanted to look up that Hawaii game real quick because I think that usually that tends to change a lot, but I still like it. Your Coach Prime special, the plus 10.5, the plus 340. I don't like the plus 340, the plus 10.5. I'm not really, listen, I love it. I love it. I love that plus 10.5. We keep that Coach Prime Colorado special going. We're pro Coach Prime. All right, buddy. College is done. The bets are done. It is time to hit the footy. We're going to take another ride, but this time we're going across the pond. Or I should say, we're going across the pond, bruv. Okay? We're going to hit the games that we talked about last week, review a couple quick ones. Manchester City 6, Bournemouth 1. This isn't going to be a title race soon if everybody doesn't get it together. Doku, Silva with 2, Akanji, Foden, Ake, dominating from start to finish. I'm just going to keep it rolling. Manchester City looks scary. We're all in trouble. What you got for the next one?
For the next one, Crystal Palace 2, Burnley 0. Burnley, I will say, dominated possession, and the shots looked really dangerous. But Crystal Palace counterattack was absolutely great. Looked really, really good, and they get a really solid win against a Burnley team that has been on the downtrend, but has been looking a little better lately.
Absolutely. And we'll get some more on them a little bit later. Palace get in the 10th with the win. So good for them. They're sitting mid-table where we kind of expect them to be pretty much. So moving on. Everton won where you are. Everton won. Brighton won. A 7-minute goal gives the Blues the lead until an Ashley Young own goal. Man, do I love a man named Ashley. Come on, Ashley Young. Give Brighton a very much needed point because they are struggling lately. Everton hanging on, trying to climb back up into that mid-table form.
Yeah, like we talked about previous on other pods, there are some times where ties feel like a win and ties feel like a loss. I feel like it could have gone either way for Everton because it felt like a win because it's against a Brighton team that's normally pretty good, but also feels like a loss because they're slumping and you had the lead, and Brighton really didn't have anything going with the final product.
No.
So it's kind of both, honestly. But for Brighton in general, I think it feels like a loss because you should be beating this Everton team.
You should be beating this Everton team. And for our Americans who, when we say sometimes a tie feels like a loss, sometimes a tie feels like a win, and you're like, what? That doesn't make any sense. You tie against a team you should lose to, it feels like a win. You get a point and you get a tie after you've been losing most of the game, it feels like a win. You lose a point because you've been dominating the whole game and a team scores late on you. Those are gut punches and they feel like losses. So kind of just break that down. All right, moving on. This one's yours.
Yeah. Aston Villa 0, Nottingham Forest 2.
Villa?
Yeah, like crazy. However, unfortunately, Matt Turner was on the bench for this game. The U.S. goalkeeper was benched. We're going to see. Was he just on the bench or has he been fully benched from the now on? We will see. Nottingham Forest scoring an early goal in both halves and just dug in the rest of the game, played really, really good defense, and came away with a very shocking win.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's never good when you hear that your goalie, who is also the starting goalie for your national team, gets demoted, and then the guy comes out and keeps a clean sheet. Good goalies are notoriously streaky players. Very likely Matt Turner hangs out on the bench this weekend as well, just because that's just kind of how these things fall. Drew, we're going to skip the Liverpool game and come back to it. I want you to keep it rolling with Brentford and then go on to Sheffield afterwards.
Yes, sir. Brentford 3, West Ham 2. This game was nuts.
Absolutely.
I called it. I thought Brentford was going to win. Not like this, though. Back and forth game. The defense for West Ham just looked really, really bad, and that cost them that game. Brentford, though, very good results past couple games. They've looked really good, climbing up the table. Not too bad. Not too bad for a team I thought was going to finish a lot lower.
100%. And we agree because we both predicted them to be a little bit lower, and they're outperforming. Maupay 11th minute. I mean, the goals were the 11th, 19th, 28th, 55, 69. Action all throughout the game. Brentford, a great win. West Ham reeling.
Badly.
Not doing good. Got to give a shout out. That's my son's teacher. That's Mrs. Lucy's team, but that's not doing great. Keep it going.
Yeah. Sheffield 2, Wolves won another crazy game, honestly. Sheffield took the lead on a 72-minute goal. Wolverhampton equalized right before the 90th minute. It looks like it's going to end in a draw, but then Wolves concede a very weak penalty. And with basically the last kick of the game, Sheffield convert the penalty, they score, they win. Crazy game.
Oh, I mean, dude, these games have been great. Like
Mhm.
there was upsets. Bottom of the table teams showed up to play this week, and when we get into our our story of the week that is bigger than all of sports, we will get into that. But it was a late stoppage time penalty kick. I mean, they give Sheffield United the win. I mean, let's go Sheffield, trying to hang in there. All right, I'm going to take over. I'm going to drive a little bit. I'm going to absolutely flip us in a U-turn, change the rundown around because I want to get to the Liverpool game second to last. I will let you go on your Chelsea rant last. Newcastle 1, Arsenal 0. A absolutely horrific VAR call gives Newcastle a 64th minute goal. There should have been 3 red cards. Havertz should have had 1. Bruno should have had 2 red cards. Arsenal still had 60% of the possession, 14 shots, 1 on target. That's why they lost. However, Arsenal dropped a 4th. Maybe it's not a title race after all. VAR has ruined soccer this entire week. It is awful. I'm going to try not to scream for the next hour about it. If you missed the call, Newcastle was on the attack. A cross came through, and it went out of bounds. There wasn't a clear-cut camera angle of the ball going out of bounds, but the ball was out of play. They kept the ball in play, crossed the ball into the box. Another foul occurred. Ball bounces to a Newcastle player. They score the goal. The goal should have been disallowed because of the ball being out of bounds. It should have been disallowed because the player clearly fouled the defender. Yet it stands. Arsenal coach Mikel Arteta went absolutely bonkers after the game, rightfully so. Arsenal then put out a club statement. I completely disagree with that. I think they should have stayed out of it. They should have let their manager just kind of throw his rant and keep it moving. I mean, am I wrong? Am I wrong?
No, and
I know
honestly,
this
I
is a
think
tough one for you because you'd love to see Arsenal lose every game, but
that and I also called Newcastle winning last week.
there it is.
However, it was an awful call. And honestly, I've been watching a lot of these, and when VAR first came in, it was taking a while. It was taking a good couple minutes for them to actually go through the process and everything. And it looks like they're starting to try to speed up the process, but that's leading to so many crucial errors of like miscommunication, not seeing the right camera angle, all of this stuff that's making the game worse than what people thought it was when VAR first came in.
Pardon my language. They're re-refereeing the damn game.
Yeah.
I don't need you to re-referee the game. I need you to stop the game when there are critical errors, and I want you to just make sure guys are on side. They can't get any of that right. They're re-refereeing the games now. We'll get to that later on with Manchester United's Champions League defeat because I'm gonna go off on VAR again there, but it's not been good. Speaking of Manchester United 1, Fulham 0. My one good result of the weekend after my rant and a banner brought to the away Craven Cottage that read, "Play like you mean it." Bruno Fernandes scores a late stoppage time winner. Not a great game, but 3 points, baby. So we'll go there. All right. The game that I've been referring to a couple times that I wanted to get back to our most amazing game of the weekend, and then your bigger than sports game of the weekend. Luton Town 1, Liverpool 1. A point and a goal take Liverpool to third. Luton get out of the relegation zone. So 2 big points, a point apiece, both big for each team. Tyeth Chong, 80-minute goal, had me FaceTiming and screaming at my brother. But a Luis Diaz extra time header ties it up. And honestly, and I'm getting goosebumps talking about it, some things are bigger than sports. Some things are bigger than football. And both goals embody being bigger than football. Luton Town's in a great way, but completely separate from Luis Diaz's. And if you love sports and if you love stories, this is a story to love. But Luton Town, their stadium is built into the city. When you walk up the way stands, you literally are looking in somebody's window into their living room. Okay. It is such an old stadium. They had to put $10 million of revenue into the stadium to make it just a standard stadium that could have cameras and VAR. When you watch a Luton Town game, the cameras are distorted because there's no room. So to see them score a goal, the place went absolutely just scenes upon scenes. It was goosebumps from the goal. Like I said, I was FaceTiming this guy and screaming at him. It was amazing. Luis Diaz scores an extra time winner and ties it up. Opens his shirt to reveal a shirt underneath that in Spanish went "Free my papa." Luis Diaz's parents were kidnapped in his native Colombia less than 2 weeks ago. Thankfully, his mom was released immediately. I have great news. Today, his father was released. They got him. He is okay. He is safe. He is with his mother. But Luis Diaz wasn't playing. He was put into the squad by Jurgen Klopp. They brought him back into the team football where it's familiar, where you're around guys, where you're in the locker room, where guys can kind of make you feel at home. He brought him in. He scores the header. He pulls the shirt off. I was almost in tears myself. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not making this up. To see what he's going through and to not just get out there and play, to score a goal, to be able to, to raise the shirt and to kind of get it off your chest. The players from other teams were hugging and consoling him after the game. So, I mean, the story up until today was absolutely heartbreaking. I can't even imagine what this man was going through to be on the field. But it is amazing that they were able to get his dad. His dad is okay. So like you said, his parents were kidnapped, but now they're together. Hopefully, with international break coming up, Luis Diaz is able to either get home to Colombia to see his parents or get them out of Colombia into England to see him. So sometimes sports take on stories that are bigger than the game itself, and this game embodied that. So all our love to you, Luis Diaz. I'm so glad that your parents are safe and they were able to find them. Anything you want to throw in there, Drew, before we get back to the football?
Yeah, honestly, like you said it perfectly. And when Jurgen Klopp was asked about it, he said he wasn't able to go to Colombia due to some reasons. And when Klopp asked me if he wanted to stay out of the squad and not play, he said, no, I want to play. And it's one of those things where for 90 minutes, a lot of those cares maybe don't go away, but lessen just because you're playing something that you have so much passion for and some things you can just do without having all of your worries put on you. And it's something that's beautiful when it ends up to something like this.
100%. And like I said, we were fully rooting for Luton Town when they had scored just because of their individual story. But when Luis Diaz scored, it's like there's nothing you can do but almost just cry because you can see the emotion. It means so much. And it meant so much to him. It's so meant you could see it after the game. You read it in his statements and just the way he looks. Being able to be in the locker room in here, I'll share this story real quick. It's not the same, but this is what I've got. Was it what I've got to reference it? I was in college when our grandmother unfortunately passed away, and being able to walk into the locker room and being able to go into practice and be able to go in there and have 20 guys, 11 guys on the field, but have those 20 guys take you out of that, crack jokes with you, make you feel like there is nothing else in the world going on. And that sometimes can only happen when you walk into those locker rooms. So just an absolute, I know what I know what it can be like to want to be in there and want to use the locker room as a distraction. I'm glad he was. And like we said, all love to his family. And I'm very, very glad that, they're back. All right. Moving on, not moving on, but transitioning. Let's get back into the footy. Drew, Tottenham, Chelsea. What? Give it to us, buddy. It's all
I'm
you.
gonna give it. This is this is probably the craziest game I've ever seen. Like play out. I've looked at replays of maybe crazier games, but this takes the cake for live. All right, Tottenham, top of the league, looking great. Chelsea, middle of the table, struggling, doing okay. Tottenham scores in 6 minutes, all the way looking bad. They had a second. They had a second in the back of the net, About 5 minutes later, ruled out for offsides. 1-0 still, thank God. Everything like that. Chelsea finally gets some life back in them about 10 minutes later. They put the ball in the back of the net. The goal is ruled off because Raheem Sterling, our left winger, our attacker, had a handball leading up to the goal. Next, we put the ball in the back of the net again. Oh, it's ruled off for offsides again. However, Christian Romero, the defender for Tottenham, absolutely stuck his cleats into one of our attackers' shins. They
I didn't know where we were going there.
Reviewed it. Penalty, red card. He is sent off. Tottenham are down to 10 men. Chelsea convert the penalty. In the 35th minute, it is 1-1. A little bit later in the half, two players for Spurs within 5 minutes of each other fall down with non-contact injuries. Before the half is over, they have to be replaced. That's all in the first half. It is 1-1. There has been 3 disallowed goals, a red card, and 3 substitutions. Nothing like that ever happens. Second half of the game. Early, a player for Spurs that had received a yellow card earlier in the game commits a pretty bad tackle, and I think Raheem Sterling a second time gets a second yellow card. That results in a red. He is sent off. It is now 9v11. However, Chelsea, in their very not great ways, can't score for the next 20 minutes. Finally, we take advantage. In the 75th minute, we score. We go up 2-1. And then, almost immediately, Spurs score off a free kick. Tottenham scores off a free kick. But for the 4th time, it is ruled off due to offsides.
No, he's not done.
I got one more thing. Chelsea finally put 2 more in the back of the net. It's 4-1 final score. The craziest game I've ever seen, like watching it live. And thankfully it was a game where my team won.
And that's why we let him go. That's why we let him go, folks. We gotta let the kids get it out. Only thing I didn't like, I'm just gonna point it out to you. And Murdoch? How's his name pronounced? Mudryk. Okay. Jackson scores the hat trick. He's 2-on-1. Clearly should have passed the ball. Mudryk was there. Should have played him. Jackson takes it. Mudryk just stood there and stared at him when he scored the goal. There was no celebration. There was no running to his teammate. He stood there and was like, "You're kind of a dick. I'm right here. You should have passed me the ball." The only thing I didn't like about that, because it stood out. It absolutely stood out. I don't think anything else is left to be said, because literally you said more than anyone else has about the game the entire week combined. Boom. Champions League review. The biggest leg. I can't spell. That's okay, ladies and gentlemen. Champions League. Champions League review. The biggest tournament in soccer went on this week, and we have to talk about it. So, Drew, now that I fixed it, no, I can't fix it. That's all right. Don't worry about it. Champions League. We had some big results this week. Okay.
Yes.
Shakhtar upset Barcelona 1-0. Huge. Barcelona. What are you doing in the Champions League lately? Not playing like they should be. Dortmund handled Newcastle once again. 2-0. Back-to-backs. There was a lot of back-to-back games in this leg because you play everyone twice. There's that where, side, that snake. Sometimes you got to do it. They usually do it on the turn like this. AC Milan 2, PSG 1. Love to see that. Atletico Madrid 6, Celtic 0. Ooh, Celtic. Ooh, Celtic. Drew, run through some of the other games because I don't know about any of those other ones.
Yeah. Other than Barcelona, Manchester City, Bayern, and Real Madrid stayed perfect. All wins. Arsenal with a clean win over Sevilla. Last time it was a little shaky, but dominant 2-0 win in this one. And maybe not the biggest upset because Shakhtar Donetsk over Barcelona was really big. But maybe the second, FC Copenhagen beat Manchester United. Ken, what's going on over there?
Oh, this podcast is just beat up on Ken's teams that don't win this week. At least my bets are winning. So VAR rant time. VAR ruined and lost us this game. Okay. Manchester United was bleeping cruising. We were up 2-0, 2 quick goals. We were absolutely flying. Rasmus Højlund back on the score sheet in the Champions League, have scored in every game. We were rolling. Then Marcus Rashford decides to do what every soccer player has done in the history of the game, which is box out a defender. His leg caught the defender's foot. I understand, but in full speed and run time, it is a clean, normal play. But now that we over interview and over review every damn play, we went back through and looked, slowed it down a million times. It looks awful in slow motion. Red card. United go down to 10 men. Copenhagen immediately get a goal. A couple minutes later, they get another goal from to make it 2-2 to tie up the game. Manchester United then get an awful penalty. Yes, we got an awful penalty off another re-review. Header comes in, ball into the box. Header goes off of the defender's arm. Nothing the defender can do about it. It's a bang play. But because we have to re-referee and VAR and slow everything down to slower than it would ever look, I could literally go like this. And if you slowed it down slow enough, it would look like I smacked the heck out of myself in the face. But we had to slow it down. VAR gives us the penalty. We go up, but 10 men was too much to overcome, and we lose. I wanted to absolutely flip out and lose my mind, but I can't because VAR cost us. I'm sorry. We were up 2-0 and we were rolling. We would have been up 3-0 if we stayed with 11 men up in the halftime. Would we have given up a goal or two? I absolutely believe it. We're good for it. But I think we would have clearly won the game. I'm tired of VAR. I'm tired of re-refereeing the damn games. Let's keep it moving. Let's hit it because we're almost done. Let's hit our review for the upcoming week. Ooh. I'm done with VAR. We're gonna do an entire VAR podcast. I'm done with this. Wolves versus Spurs. Spurs looking to rebound after a thumping from Chelsea. Wolves look to rebound after losing the bottom of the table Sheffield. I don't even think with the injuries to Madison and Van der Ven, like we talked about, the suspensions to Romero and Udegai, I don't think these are matter. I think Spurs take care of business short term. However, long term, depending on how long these guys are out, as you heard first on the Straub Sports Show, Spurs does not have the depth to maintain this kind of long-term of these many guys being out. I think they survive this week, but they do not have the depth to be without these guys for a key run. Agree?
Yeah, and I honestly think even in the short term, they've even without Madison and all of them, they've had injuries before that, and now 2 more players out due to red card. I can see Wolves scraping a draw out of this one. I really think so.
Oh, absolutely. Stay tuned for that. Everton, Crystal Palace. Everton trying to keep climbing to mid-table. Crystal Palace hanging out there, 16th versus 11th. A healthy, dominant Calvin Lewis is always key for Everton. Period. End of story. Drew, give me something on Palace real quick.
Palace have been doing pretty well. Their defense kind of shored up a little bit, which is good for them. I think the quality of Crystal Palace meets the rise of Everton. I think this one ends in a draw.
I can absolutely see that. Our next one, Aston Villa versus Fulham. Another game of rebounds. Villa, after a bad loss of points to Forest. Fulham, that late defeat to United. Villa should be able to rebound in terms of getting points, whether it be win, draw. Fulham have been steadier defensively, especially with our Americans. Shout out to Anton Robinson. Had a phenomenal game against United. Dominated us. Dominated Anthony. Although everybody dominates Anthony other than his girlfriend. Running down the line. Shots fired at my own team. Don't care. Antoine looked great. Looked good moving the ball. Tim Ream made some good clearances. So Villa is in it for a tough one here, but Villa should be able to rebound. No?
I agree. I think Villa has the quality to bounce back off of that after that.
I agree. Let's keep it rolling. West Ham, Nottingham Forest. The Hammers have dropped 3 in a row. Now face a Forest team fresh off that win, against aforementioned Aston Villa. I mean, normally I would take normally I would take and hammer the hammers. Okay, bet wise, I'd hammer the hammers here. Okay, hammer, hammer, hammer. I'm a little scared. Okay, should Hammers fans be scared, Drew, or is it hammer
Uh,
time?
I think they should be scared just because this team looks nothing like the team that started off this season. They don't have any creativity. That defense looks like that's costing them goals left and right. And Forest having finally won a game that boosts your confidence immeasurably after a losing streak. I like Forest in this one.
I have no absolute reason to disagree. Form, form. Brighton, Sheffield for United. The Blades come in on fire after winning their first game of the year. Brighton continue to play very mediocre, just flat out. Why can't Sheffield play this to a draw? Why not?
No, I completely agree. Brighton has one win in the last 6 Premier League matches, 8 if you count other competitions. It's very tough, but honestly, this Brighton team can snap out of it at any second, so it's tough. We'll see.
Absolutely. Keep it rolling. Bournemouth, Newcastle. Newcastle flying high after that win after Arsenal, albeit controversial. Don't matter in that locker room, okay? Doesn't matter over there in Newcastle. Bournemouth, desperate for points already, okay? And it's only November, but they are desperate for points. I don't know. I don't see a way back for Bournemouth in this one.
Yeah, Newcastle is usually tired after Champions League and pretty fatigued, but the team to be fatigued against and still scrape out a win is Bournemouth. And so I like Newcastle in this one.
Absolutely. Arsenal, Burnley. Arsenal, after being hard done with that VAR decision, and because I have to check, and with their 2-0 win in the Champions League over Sevilla, they go. Here comes lonely Burnley. Ooh, I think this is another Oregon situation. Danger. Get on the floor. Burnley in trouble. Absolutely. Liverpool, Brentford. The Brentford Bees. They come in as the most informed team in their last 5, winning their last 3. The only other team in the league doing that right now, Manchester City. The Mighty Bees. But Liverpool come in off that late tie, an emotional tie. We've already touched on that. It was one that for sure felt like a win if you're Arsenal or if you're Liverpool. 2 in a row after that. Liverpool should take care of business. No problem here.
I agree. Brentford's on the rise, but I like Liverpool to come back and settle back in.
Okay. I promise I won't rant. Manchester United, Luton Town. Can United beat up on no longer in the relegation zone Luton Town? I have scheduled in here that I'm supposed to do a rant. I've already ranted enough. I think this actually gives them that locker room a reason to get in together, to have some spirit, to have some fight. I actually think I like United by more than 2 goals.
Interesting. Well, honestly, we'll see which Man United comes to play. If they played like they did, obviously in the loss to Copenhagen, that's due to 10 men. If they play like they did against them, you could be perfectly right. But then if they come to play like they did against Fulham, it could be a close game, especially with Luton getting some momentum now that they're out of the relegation zone. So that's a toss-up for me, just depending on where we see Man United in the first 20 minutes of the game.
I don't disagree. Your game of the week involves this man's team once again. Chelsea.
Can I stop being game of the week?
Nope, not yet. Chelsea versus Manchester City. Once again, like I said, you're in the biggest game of the week, bro. So come on. How do you take down City, even though majority of us think the answer is none of us can?
And I'm one of them. However, what I've noticed is the 2 biggest games that we've had great results out of, Arsenal and Tottenham, have been games that instead of the other team sitting back, letting us attack, and then counterattacking us, have actually come at us. And that's where we've played our best, where we're able to get out in the open field and play with a lot more space and not have to pass it around. And City's going to do exactly that. They're going to come at us. They're going to come at you with the press. And that is the key to beating Manchester City, is beating the press. If you can't beat the press, it's like not beating the trap in basketball. You're not going to be able to do anything. So that is what you have to do first and foremost. And second, to beat Manchester City, you have to make it a sloppy game. You aren't going to beat City talent-wise or with finesse. They are going to beat you hands down. However, you bring the quality down, you make them get in maybe a little card trouble. They're not as deep as they used to be. So if you make them make subs, you make them put on different guys, you have a chance. However, I attest the Tottenham win and the Arsenal draw to rivalry games. City is not a rival for us. They are on another level. I like Manchester City, even though we are at home.
And you made good points about your team, and that is how you beat. So you have to beat the press. You have to beat that try. You have to. Dude, sorry. You could argue that before the red cards, Spurs was in that game, and that would have even been a draw or a very close game. So the red cards gave red card theme this week, giving you the extra man, then giving you the second man. You should dominate. Still credit to your team. You got 3 points. Sorry everybody. We've been preaching for the past couple of weeks that this is a title race. This is a title race. This is why we kept saying it as questions, man. Yeah, you don't stand a chance, buddy. And I don't necessarily disagree with Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
I will put this up for 1 second and get that down. That's just, you're going to win. You don't need to brag it in. You already got a treble. So, one last one, and that would be our Americans. You see him. He zipped it up, so you know what it is time for. Ladies and gentlemen, Americans abroad with Drew.
Thank you. And I'm going to tease a little bit. Some of these players that I mentioned might be on a certain roster playing a certain amount of games. Maybe next week we might want to talk about it later on in another pod.
There absolutely will be next week. Not sure if it's going to be Sunday or Monday. A United States men's national team roster drop. We will do another one. That was our first pod that we ever did together, and it will be the second pod under the Straub Bros Sports Show logo title. Give us those Americans abroad.
Yes, first and foremost, Malik Tillman and Ricardo Pepi. Why do I mention them together? They both play for PSV, a Dutch team, and they both got a goal.
Watch it back, Sean. You made the screen a couple times, my guy. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. Malik Tillman got a goal. Ricardo Pepi, a goal and an assist in a 6-0 thrashing in the Dutch league. Cameron Carter-Vickers, that really poor performance against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League was bad. But right before that, a very solid performance in a 3-0 win in the Scottish League. Coming off pretty high other than the Atletico very bad loss. Johnny Cardoso keeps coming up in this mentions. An assist and 2 man-of-the-match performances this week. Absolutely flying. And like I said, it is a shame if he is not in Europe either in January or over the summer. And there are rumors abound for people that want him. So watch out for that.
Trust me, I know all of them. He sends them to me every day.
Exactly. Next, Jordan Pefok, Jordan Siebatcheu, Jordan, whatever you want to call him. Another goal. That's 3 goals in 2 games for Mönchengladbach. It was in a 3-3 tie, and the only thing that is maybe concerning, he did come off injured right before halftime. They don't know the extent of it, so we will wait and see. The nice thing is the international break is coming up. He's going to get a chance to rest if it's not that serious.
That's kind of a theme for our Americans this week, is using the international break to rest.
Yes. Another one, your dude, Gianluca Busio, a game-winning goal in Venezia's 1-0 win.
Busio!
Back-to-back weeks where Americans for Venezia have scored. Tanner Tessman scored last week. Busio this week. We keep the train rolling. Alejandro Zendejas, another goal for Club America in form.
Say that name again. Say that name again.
Alejandro Zendejas?
Because how much crap has he been getting? Give it to him.
He has been getting so much crap. I can't say it's undeserved just because when he comes and plays for a national team, we expect him to, especially in the Gold Cup, we were expecting him. He was the best player on that team. We expected him to do stuff, and he just didn't live up to it. He's plays really well for his club team, but it's one of those things where, as of right now, that club performance is not translating to national team, whether it's maybe the position he's put in or maybe it's the competition he plays against. It just hasn't worked out. But another goal and a 3-0 win, continuing that nice run of form so far.
Absolutely.
No, keep going. You're good.
You keep going.
Just a couple more to hit. Kevin Paredes, like we talked about last week, the 19-year-old playing 90 minutes and starting for Wolfsburg, got a goal this week in a 2-2 draw. Kid is absolutely killing it. Love to see it. Finally, we had an American play an American this week. It was in the English Championship. It wasn't on a lot of TVs, but Coventry, Haji Wright's Coventry, and Dwayne Holmes Preston. Dwayne Holmes, very underrated. We're kind of getting the weeds on this one. However, both of them scored. Haji Wright had a brace, his first goal since early October.
That's 2 goals for everyone who doesn't know.
I was about to say that. And Dwayne Holmes had a goal and got the win over Coventry. So a great game if you're an American fan to watch, because a great game and both the Americans on the team got goals.
Listen, when you want to get in the weeds, this is the podcast for you. Okay. And not because we're talking about Ohio passing issue 2. Okay. That's not what we're doing. We're in the weeds on the soccer stuff. Okay. And if you need to know it, we've got it for you. Okay. We also got to give a shout out to Fulham's Americans, Tim Ream, Anton Robinson. Fulham, the form has been up and down, but they played an outstanding game against Manchester United. Hopefully they can continue that form. We're not done, though. Come on, everybody. You know what I got to give you. We don't go anywhere without giving you some footy bets, okay? And guess what? That's what they are. Those are some footy bets. I love this 5-teamer. Spurs, Arsenal, United, Newcastle, Liverpool. I think they all get rolling. Plus 702 on Bet365. I think you should go hit that. I think you should go hammer that. Throw 2 on it, throw 3 on it, throw 5 on it, throw 100 on it. Whatever you want to throw on it, I think you should throw something on it. Our upsets look like this. Your Chelsea Blues, plus 375 to win, plus 260 for the tie. Everton, they're going to stay in here every week because they've been playing well enough to upset and get a point, and because they're so low on the table, you're going to get some value no matter what. Plus 200 on the win, plus 230 for the tie. And as you talked about, Wolves, plus 225, plus 260 for a draw. So I definitely think that could be something in there. Take the footy bets down. Take the banner down. I want to put it back up just because it means a lot to actually have it up for the end here. And no, it is not Champions League review. It is just easier to scroll up when I hit that. And that's to get back up to the top. That's to put that Straub Bros sports show back up there for the first time. It has been absolutely amazing. Our first one, nothing changes. It's the same show, but it's ours. It means a lot to have our name on it. We own it. Straub Bro Sports Show rolls right off the tongue. You're rolling with us. But we're not the only ones here. I got to give a shout out to Rico McGee and the Sports Minute, the Rulers Minute. That 500 episode is coming up. Be prepared and look out for that. It's going to be an awesome, awesome, awesome episode. The 216 Sports Network, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Follow us, shoot us out a like, give us a subscribe. We love it. We appreciate it. Every comment, all of it. Thank you guys so much for being in the chat with us today. More than ever this week. We appreciate it. We know we've been sticking with us. We're 2 hours and 18 minutes. So we know we've been talking for a while. We appreciate it. We're long-winded. Runs in the family. There is not a whole lot I can do about that one. But please, like I said, the 216 Sports Network, bring them in. Bring them in. The 216 Sports Network. Like, follow, subscribe. Come here. I got a special surprise for everyone this week. As always, from the Straub Bros on the Straub Bros Sports Show. Come here. Stand up, little man. Come here. From these brothers to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, as always, please remember to
Love you.
absolutely